I can't. It's oh wait. Hey, we're live. All right, so we are live. Welcome to An American Werewolf in New Jersey. I am the American Werewolf. In the house tonight, from Gene Wilderish lands in fucking London, we've got Julia Morgan herself. We've got Morgan Scorpion. Nice to have you on board. And then we've got Eric from Hey Internet. Eric here. Always good to stop by and shoot the shit.
Yeah, happy to be here, dude.
We've got first time as part of a panel, I think, we've got Ben from Cadaver Club.
What's up, y'all?
Who got us started on a little musical note there before we went on. And then making his triumphant return from the Far East, we've got the Gore folk. You just won the Kumite, Gore. Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations, brother. My man. So, we haven't had one of these in a while, and the last time we did, it was just kind of a free-for-all for bullshit, which is something that a lot of us specialize in, yours truly included. And I thought it'd be a good time to have one again, especially since I hadn't done a video. I realized, I looked today, it's been 13 weeks since I dropped a video, so I have to get back on that. But on the other hand, it was nice to take a little bit of a break and, catch my breath and catch up on some content to make videos about. So I've got that done. And then I just thought I would check in with people and, see what's going on and who is available to sit down and shoot the breeze. So here we are. So I don't know what's happening with horror these days. What have we had? We've had the new Halloween movie dropped. It's dropped. It's gone. It's already gone.
Yeah.
By and large, some may dispute, but okay. We've got the new Terrifier movie that people are still talking about, and I am not a fan of the Terrifier thing because if that's a longer story, I'll get into that in a minute. But I thoroughly support people making their own content.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing was made on like $250,000 or something like that, like a ridiculously small amount of money, and it has gone on to make. I mean, it's well past 10 million at this point. And so when people, I think more and more people are catching on to the idea that, studios aren't making the content that I want, so I'm going to make the content myself and distribute it. And I'm seeing that in the comics, graphic novels, where people are just, going their own way. So I salute that. I think that's totally cool. And, it's America, just fucking do it yourself or anywhere that you happen to be. If you can't do it, and if people want to see it and there's a demand for it in the market, then it's going to make some money. If not, then, that you messed up and go back to the drawing board and try again.
Yeah, the pioneers of it actually were a long time ago. Like George Romero was a pioneer of that,
What can I think of? Evil Dead.
Sam
Raimi. All these guys. Has anybody seen the movie?
Terrifier 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you talked about it. Yeah, tell us a little bit. What was your opinion? We talked a little bit about it during the midnight show.
I liked it quite a bit. For me, it's like it reminded me of watching a Fulci movie, in the sense that the narrative feels like it was written by a child, but it's still very charming. You know what I mean?
It's more of an experience than it is a watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait. It reminds you of. I'm not familiar with what it reminds you of a what film?
Fulci.
Oh, okay.
Like a House by the Cemetery or the Beyond.
Yeah.
Those movies always remind me of like watching them is kind of like hearing an 8-year-old tell you the story of a movie he watched. You know what I mean? It's like utterly entertaining and completely charming, but not super well told per se,
I've only ever seen that little 30-second blip that they always show from the first movie where he's just sitting in a cafe dressed the way that he's dressed, staring across from that girl.
When he first meets the girls, yeah.
Yeah, and he just he breaks into like 2 or 3 different expressions, and the girl just can't seem to look away, because he's actually quite horrific looking. And like visually, say again.
So he's actually damn good. I mean, he's really good at it.
Yeah,
great performance.
Hell yeah, he is.
Visually it looked kind of arresting. I don't go for the extreme gore thing. My thing is give me a story. So I'm not sure that. And plus, I heard that these movies are actually quite long.
The second one's a lot longer.
Yeah, the second one breaks 2 hours. I don't know if the first one is 2 hours.
First one's like
it breaks 2 hours.
The second one does, yeah.
Well, the final act of the second one is like 45 minutes. The final act.
So, I mean, would anybody mind if I asked a spoiler? I mean, does Art the Clown survive?
He didn't survive the first movie.
Yeah,
that didn't bother him. He decided to come back anyway.
He always finds some.
I'm not sure what he is.
Is this like Kenny from South Park? He dies at every episode or something.
He died in both of these movies.
We're not. The whole thing of it is we're not sure exactly what he is. They haven't explained exactly what he is yet. So he can kind of just he can kind of just put his head back on and go about his business.
Like Jeepers Creepers or something.
Yeah, it was. I've seen the first one, and for what it was, I enjoyed it. Mainly for was it David? Well, I can't think of the name. David Thornton. Something like that. The guy who plays Art the Clown. There's no dialogue. He is strictly body language and facial features and stuff. He is amazing to just watch in that first movie. Even if you don't like the gore, the story is very thin. Surprise. But his performance, I think, is so good in that just because it's all dialogue free and stuff. And he is supposedly killed at the end, and then he's resurrected. And then I don't know how they can get 2 hours of an art movie, with the second film, but I'm intrigued just to see how much they can cram in there to get 2 hours of just a psychotic clown killing people. But I personally am not going to rush out to go see it, but I will have to give it props because like every single weekend I see that more and more theaters are now showing it. Yeah. And I think that's pretty cool just for independent horror in general. That's cool.
I have to believe that it's leaning heavily on prolonged periods of gore. Is that correct? I mean, I'm hearing that there's lots of gore, and so these prolonged sort of depths. Otherwise, I don't know how you would fill 2 hours. But I don't know. I haven't seen it. I probably
there's actually a lot of story too, though. There's actually a lot of story. And there's a decent amount of story in the first one, but there's a lot of story in the second one.
But then there's a movie that before this starts it, isn't it? Because it's on like Tubi or something like that.
All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, it's an anthology called All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, something like that. And I see the character like on the tab where you can push it, and I just go right past. So
different actor though.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay, I could because I figured I could live with that. Julia, have you seen this Barbarian? I mean,
Terrifier.
Terrifier?
No. I have seen a very good South American film called Terrified.
Oh.
Which I really enjoyed, but I haven't seen Terrifier.
Now, where did what's it about?
Terrified. It's about a haunted neighborhood and some investigators who try and put the ghosts to rest.
Yes, I've seen that. That's got some pretty good parts in it.
It's effectively creepy in multiple points.
If Julia tells me, I always listen because she made quite an extensive list that I'm still sort of working through, and not one has not been, just fucking rock solid. So okay, Terrified. I guess I'll add that to the list.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Okay. I saw. Let's see. Ginger Ninja is here, and he's saying,
Ninja.
"Hey," and he's saying, "Barbarian Smiles, Jeepers Creepers Reborn." I saw Barbarian. I did a reaction video to
I haven't seen
Barbarian.
it yet, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay, then we'll minimize the spoilers, but it was extremely solid. And I started out, it was my first ever full film reaction video. And so I started out saying, I'm not expecting much. I'm pretty much going to be able to tell what's going on right from the get-go, and I'll figure it out early. I was wrong on all accounts. An extremely solid movie.
I've heard nothing but good about it.
Yeah, very, very good. Some surprise appearances by actors and performers that I didn't know was in there. I didn't know any of them were in there, and it was just such a treat. And I think it was about 100 minutes, and by the time it was over with, I was like, there are occasions like this where I'm just very glad to be wrong. Because it was an amazing flick. Right, and it's on HBO. If anybody's looking for it right now on HBO Max, you can find it. Fantastic flick.
I'm real interested because I'm a huge fan of Bill Skarsgård, however he pronounced his last name. I liked him as Pennywise. I really liked him in is it called Penny Dreadful that was on? No, not Penny.
Yeah.
Was it on Netflix? Was it Penny Dreadful, or there was like two horror television shows on at the same time, one with Josh Hartnett and one with Bill Skarsgård.
You're thinking of Hemlock Grove.
That's it. Yes.
Oh, Hemlock Grove. Okay.
Yeah, he was good on that.
Famke Janssen was in that. Yeah. Penny. He wasn't in Penny Dreadful. Penny Dreadful is one of my all-time favorites. That's a fucking great show. And now he is going to be the Nosferatu in Eggers' remake. The idea that it was going to be Willem Dafoe and Anna Taylor-Joy is no longer the case. It's now going to be Bill Skarsgård, and I forget who the female lead is going to be. But I don't see Bill Skarsgård as the Nosferatu, but I won't bet against Robert Eggers.
Makeup, he'll pass.
Just in terms of the performance. And that's a lot to tackle. That is a monumental.
I checked our group chat. We were talking about it, Mike. Lily Rose Depp is the other name on the poster.
Yeah, I'm not even 100% sure who that is.
Johnny Depp's daughter.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's done a few Kevin Smith movies. That's all I know her from.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's a monumental task to take on Nosferatu. One, you've got Murnau's original film, which is just perfect, except for the organ playing. I hate that they do that in silent films. It's a fucking silent film. Shut up. Let me watch the film, and I always turn the volume off.
Silent movies are always shown with a piano or organ accompaniment.
It ruins it. It ruins it for me because
you don't like any music in a silent film.
No, because the music never seems to match the mood. And, and it's like this over-the-top kind of thing that's going on all the time, and you're like, no, it's a silent movie. Like you're sort of missing the point here, or at least to me. So when I watch those types of movies, be Phantom of the Opera or Nosferatu, mute button all the way down. So
the Germans did a great job on those silent films.
Yeah, but then, I mean. You come back in a couple years later, 50 years later, Herzog does it.
And Klaus Kinski gives the most perfect performance there. I mean, it's just some of the best acting I've ever seen. He wasn't much of a human being. My God, he was a great actor.
Well, I mean, Kinski was a ghoul in real life.
He's a creepy fellow, yeah.
Yeah, he was there's Herzog does a documentary about him called My Fiend or My Friend or something, Klaus or something like that. And it's just about what a monster he was. And what a monster he was like on the set.
Didn't someone once literally put like a hit on Klaus once because they hated him that much. I think.
Well, on the set of the Wrath of God, the native people wanted to kill him.
Really?
Like the native people on the sets just told Herzog, like, we'll kill this guy for you if you want. Like, he'll have an accident and you'll never have to worry about it. And he's like, no.
Wow.
And,
Didn't he
he
do
was.
some shady shit? Didn't he
Huh?
do some shady things? I mean, some really shady things involving younger
Yes.
people, even.
Yeah.
Yes.
He
His
was
daughters.
supposedly he molested both of his daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nastasia and I don't know the other girl's name, but they said that he molested both of them. So that's when I say, because if he was just a jerk on the set, that would be one thing.
Right.
Because there are lots of high maintenance assholes, that have passed through Hollywood or through the movies or this, that, or the other. But supposedly, he was actively molesting his own children and God knows what else. So
Right.
for him to play this role, has anybody seen it? I mean, Julia's seen it.
Of course.
Just seen the original.
Really? I think it's on Tubi right now. Can somebody check?
Yeah, I'll check right now.
If it's on Tubi, and watch it in the original German. It is a masterpiece.
Oh, so it's not silent.
No, it's 1979.
Oh, okay.
It's 1979.
In fact, it's got a rather pleasant soundtrack, I remember.
He did a second one too, didn't he? Didn't Kinski do a second Nosferatu movie, or it was kind of a Nosferatu movie also?
No, he did. He filmed it twice. Instead of dubbing, they filmed it once in German, and then they filmed the whole thing again in English.
Well, there are two Nosferatu movies on Tubi starring Klaus.
Yeah, it's Nosferatu
in Venice. It came out in 1988.
Oh, really?
And it says it's excuse me, a vampire scholar gets more research than he bargained for when he travels to Venice to investigate the last known appearance of the famous Nosferatu. Also has Christopher Plummer and Donald Pleasance in it.
Awesome.
1988. Both are on Tubi, yes.
Okay, so start off with Nosferatu the Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Because what Julia was saying with the with the music, Herzog used a lot of Wagner, and this sort of it set this sort of operatic tone, like when you see the guy who's playing Harker first approaching the castle, and to me that's the film that always runs rings around Coppola's Dracula. In terms of, because there are no real special effects that are being employed, but it's terrifying. He's just terrifying. He's just fucking terrifying.
Manages to be a performance of great age and great strength at the same time, and I think you'd think that would be impossible to do with you describing it, but he managed it.
Yeah, and he also conveys this feeling like that. Like he just wants to die. Like he's just so old, and he just wants to die. And like this impression that like he hasn't, like when you see him interact with Harker, it's like he hasn't spoken to anyone in so long.
Yeah. Like
he just says whatever's in his head. And so you meet people and you say they have no filter in this, but it's different when he does it. He tells you, hey,
oh, look at that.
Hey, very nice. Very nice.
Max Schreck as Nosferatu. Yeah.
Very
That's
nice.
my favorite
that is lovely.
How much did that run you?
I got looking at the pre-order on it altogether. You got it from Mezco, which is in UK. I do believe, and shipping was expensive. Ended up being around $95 total. But I mean, it's sold out at the pre-order. So by the time it actually came out, people were wanting $200 for it already.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, because you get it and they resell it on eBay, or you buy a couple of them and you turn a profit.
Yeah, I checked it out right afterwards. Some people were even asking $300 because
really?
it comes with an original film cell from the movie. It comes with his casket. It comes with 2 or 3 different heads, different hands, a stand.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
A T-shirt that you got exclusively if you ordered it directly through Mezco.
See, I'm just getting to the point now where I'm like setting up my background, and so I want to start to get some memorabilia too, and get it set up in here because I've got the films and I've got tons of books and things like that, but collectibles aren't my thing per se, but I would like to have a couple of things to just to spruce up the back, maybe a werewolf, that kind of thing.
If you need any advice on any place,
Okay.
Me and Ben were two of the best people to come to in it.
Yeah, Ben's always got the steel books coming.
Media books. He's a media book fanatic.
Yeah, I've seen that. He's always posting his new stuff. Hold on a second. We've got quite a bit going on here in the comics. The comments. So Barbarian, and then what do you got there, Eric?
Oh, I got a couple Nosferatu things I'll show off too. I just got to find out where I stashed them.
Okay. Smile. I didn't see that, and I heard horrible things about the new Jeepers Creepers, but that doesn't surprise me at all. They should have just never done that. That third movie was awful. So I
found these on Etsy. There's a Nosferatu little figure, a guy handmade and hand painted.
No shit.
Cool.
So he's got that, and then just for the hell of it, I got the Kinski one.
Okay.
So yeah, that's.
Wait, show the first one again because I just brought you in on the solo layout.
And then there's. Can't really shoot. There you go.
Very nice.
Just kind of cool things that I would throw in the background,
So where did you get those? Etsy?
Yeah, I literally was. I don't know what the hell I was searching for. I bought something on Etsy like maybe 6 months ago, and then every now and then you'll get like a notification on your phone say, since you bought this, you might be interested in this. So whatever it was like horror related, and then it popped up, and I'm like, you know what, that looks kind of cool.
Okay, all right, pretty good, pretty neat. All right, sounds good.
So when are you going to mention Shadow of the Vampire?
Hold on, I was just about to. I want to see what Gore's got there. What do you got, Gore?
This is an enlarged original film cell from the actual film.
No shit.
Don't know to see because of my lighting, but yep. That's what he's creeping up the stairs.
Where did you get that?
That came with the figure also. In this nice little folder.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it's got like a giant, almost like an old school lunchbox. It's made out of tin, especially made for it, and it's got a casket in it. The lid comes off. Yeah, it's completely extravagant. I love it. Mezco makes good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite Mezco figure too.
Is it
the Nosferatu? Yeah. Shit, I'll have to. Somebody, DM me the link or something. I'll have to go through there and see what. But it's top dollar stuff, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, their stuff is top dollar. Pre-orders and things. It's not just some Amazon order or something like that. On some random, seller.
Yeah, it's not like Etsy where you can find anything, and it's not always
it's
top quality.
Well,
Mezco Toys with a Z.com.
They don't sell only high-end stuff. They have a bunch of other stuff as well.
Do they?
Right. But all the stuff that's their stuff, it's always been good quality. You know what I mean? It's
right. Yeah. Because I follow a couple of the other streams for like hardcore comic collectors. And things like that. And so some of the figurines, and action figures that they get, you're just like, holy shit, look at like an Iron Man or a Thanos or a Darkseid or something like that. And you're like, fuck, man, those are beautiful. But then you look at some of the prices, or like when Star Wars, when like the Mandalorian dropped and things like that, those sorts of prices, and pre-orders for things, just sort of went up. that kind of stuff. So
Well, some of the things like Marty over at Trash Picture Show, he's always showcasing like figures and stuff he buys, and some of them are really cool and detailed. You know what I mean?
He's always got Harley Quinn doing something raunchy, is what he's. That's what he's got. He's got Margot Robbie doing something raunchy. In every action, there's a recurring theme in Marty's.
You can kind of understand from the childish / kind of
Yes, from
kind of
very red-blooded, heterosexual, Margot Robbie kind of thing going on. So nothing wrong with that. I was just commenting that there's a similar thread running through a lot of his action videos. So, wait, Julia, you got what did you say? Shadow of the Vampire?
Of course.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, what a great fucking film.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
I've got a copy right here.
Several times.
I've got a copy right here. I really am setting up things a little differently around here. But yeah, I mean, what a great fucking film.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And I haven't seen it in a long time. And I know it's got your buddy Udo Kier. Julia's got Julia. Yeah, you and Udo Kier, right? You've got kind of a fan.
I love Udo Kier. I think he's wonderful.
Yeah, Udo Kier is in it.
He's just a wonderful actor, and I've met him, and he's nice too.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Now tell us that story.
Oh, yes. It was only at a convention, but he had a nice long chat, and he insisted on introducing me to everybody else who came up to get anything signed, and the woman who was sitting next to him, Margot Kidder. So
really?
I love Margot.
Met her too. But yes, I don't know what he's doing lately. I haven't heard of him being in anything for a while, so I hope he's all right.
Oh yeah, geez. Last thing I saw him in was Rob Zombie's first Halloween. He was with Clint Howard. He was like the head of the asylum.
Uh-huh.
But I haven't heard of anything with him. But he's also that guy. He's one of those. Hey, there's Udo Kier. He pops up. He's there for now. He's basically there. 5 minute scene, and then he's done, and he's on to the next film. So.
Yeah.
I've wanted to now. Udo Kier is an odd catch at a con. It would be in America. It would. I'm looking here. He plays Adolf Hitler in the new season
Iron
of
Sky.
No, there's an Amazon series. There's an Amazon series called Hunters about Nazi hunters.
Right.
And it's saying here it's in post-production already, or maybe it's in production for next year. He's actually going to play Adolf Hitler.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't look at all like Adolf Hitler. Joseph Goebbels a little bit, but oh well. I'm sure they'll put lots of makeup on him.
Yeah, and it's Udo Kier, so I'm sure he'll be able to pull it off. Yeah, it says here Iron Sky. I'm seeing that.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that. I've seen Iron Sky. Just the first one. I haven't seen the second one yet.
But past that, I mean, there's a lot of titles here, but nothing I really recognize.
Yep, I've seen it. He's in the first Blade.
And of course, Suspiria. He was in the original Suspiria.
No, I just mean anything recently.
Oh, was Suspiria? Yeah, recently.
He was in the remake?
No,
he was in the original.
Okay, because I'm not an Argento fan. Argento movies give me a headache. No, they give me a headache every time. But I am a huge and the remake of Suspiria, and this is a hill I'm staying on. I think it's actually superior to. It's one of those rare things where the remake is better. I love that movie.
No.
Yeah, without all the
good, but not superior.
It's so rare. It's so rare that it doesn't actually exist in this case. Just saying.
And we're going to continue now.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben's the new Rob.
And when you saying something, I didn't get that. Our sound went out, and then the audio.
One of these days, we'll have to do a stream discussing the two.
That would be interesting. Mike, you could champion the remake, and then pretty much everyone else will probably champion
Yeah.
the original. I've never seen it.
They're
So.
both good films. You know, a lot of it is, I'm sure, is down to personal taste.
Mhm.
But the
We're
second
huge
does
fans of it.
not have the magic of the first.
It felt
And as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. What were we talking about? I didn't get that. It's the sound. It just keeps dropping out. I don't know what's happening here. All of a sudden, you know. Oh, Julia, there you are. You just disappeared there for a second.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, jeez, it's terrible. All right, so yeah, but I mean, the thing about Argento movies for me is that they always seem to give me a headache because the tech at the time can't pull off what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
And then their use of sound is just, it's too much for me. And so yeah, it's just it seems always sort of an over the top thing. And I'm not. Yeah, it never clicks
That's
with
just Italian cinema. You know what I mean? That's just Italian cinema. Like I say, it's more.
Yeah. That is like what Ben was saying about Fulci. You know,
that's
it's
just what
yeah,
they're known for.
yeah, and that's what they do. But then, you know, that doesn't endear me. And the second one's got Tilda Swinton in it, so I'll see just about anything with Tilda.
Yeah,
Swinton.
same here.
I'll see anything. I'll see Tilda Swinton read out of a phone book.
Same here. I love her so much. She's so good.
Yeah, she's in one of my all-time favorite vampire films.
And she absolutely rocks in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, she's amazing. Has anyone seen Only Lovers Left Alive?
Mm-mm.
No.
Fantastic vampire film with her and Tom Hiddleston.
Okay.
As a centuries-old couple. And, you know, it's one of those things where they've been together for so long, they don't even live together anymore. Like, he's like an experimental musician in Detroit because they're just looking for things to do now. They've been alive for so long. And she just lives in Tunisia and spends all of her nights reading books, you know, and it's Jim Jarmusch. Jim Jarmusch directs, and it's fantastic.
Art movie?
Yeah. It's not a horror movie per se. It's just a movie where the protagonists happen to be vampires. And I'll see anything with Jim Jarmusch in it too. So yeah, you won't find me complaining about that.
What I like about Tilda is she can play in any type of movie, whether it's like, you know, a fantasy movie like, you know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or then she's in, you know, the Doctor Strange movie as the Ancient One. Yeah. Or she's in a movie, something
like Jackson or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we need to talk about Kevin. I think it's called.
You talk about Kevin, that's it.
Yeah.
Or she plays the Archangel Gabriel in Constantine. You know, the Keanu Reeves movie. She's always good, and it's just she can't be confined to just one genre, and she kills it every time.
She's a great actress, 100%. But it felt pretentious that they had her play three or four characters in the remake. I didn't feel it served like the story. It felt just like a unneeded flourish to me for the remake.
Yeah. She's great, but she didn't trump. I mean, she's great. She did a great job. She always does. But to me, she didn't trump the fact that Argento created the original Suspiria. That's just the taste. You know what I mean?
But I think my argument with that is that people just that is the argument that it's Argento.
Well, no, that's not true because there's a few Argentos I don't like.
No, but that's usually the argument I hear about Argento. Well, it's Argento doesn't top Argento. It's never about the content of the movie. It's never about a particular part of the story or the way that
it's the content.
With Suspiria,
no, the style is not the content. Well, if it's an Argento movie, but then that doesn't work for me. The story is the content.
The story is weak in both of them. The storytelling is the story is not the best part of either of those movies, I think. Like Witches and Dance Academy, it's just, you know,
I thought it was.
It's like going through a dream.
Well, I tell you what, hold on. Let's not, because I mean, actually, this sounds kind of interesting for a stream. So let's not waste our arguments, and maybe we'll set it up in a little bit down the road or something, and see if we can do a compare and contrast. Because I would actually need that would put me in a position where I'd have to watch the first one again, and then it's always a treat because Amazon originals usually aren't horror.
Yeah.
And so this was one of the rare, and nowadays they're doing like the Terminal List and Reacher and these sorts of things. They just did that Rings of Power shit.
I probably said it wrong, but what I meant, Mike, by that when I said because Argento did it was when Argento's on, like he was in Suspiria and several others. When he's on, his movies are really powerful.
And I'm not trying to boomerang your quote back at you, but what I'm saying is that I typically hear that argument. That is the typical argument that I get when it comes to Argento movies.
See, that's like
he's great.
I hear that with a lot of horror directors. Just because they praise it just because it's a John Carpenter film. He's had a lot of stinkers. They praise it because it's a Wes Craven film. There's a lot of stinkers in his category, but that's
the ones that are popular are kind of stinkers with Craven.
Now, see the thing with Argento, I've only seen one Argento film, and it was Phenomena, which I did not like.
Well, Phenomena's great, man.
I did not like it.
You can't judge his career by Phenomena.
I'm not, and it has not turned me off to Argento. But what I'm saying is, most of the time, a lot of people say his is definitely to watch. It's more to watch for the visuals than anything else because they always say his movies look great. They're not always great, but they look great. They're pretty. They're good use of colors and stuff like that. So
Cat o' Nine Tails, Deep Red. I mean, Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
My favorites is yes, I absolutely love how lush they are. He makes horror beautiful, which is how it should be.
I think, Mike, you're not wrong in saying that the story is not necessarily compelling for the first one. I don't think it is either. The first time I watched that movie, I didn't like it at all. I was in high school. I was high as fuck. I thought it was going to be like the most frightening thing I've ever seen from what I had heard. Like witches and dancing. Wait, what?
Well, like I said, I don't like the Argento style. I don't like the style, and like what Julia kind of says is something, again, a common thread that I hear. The style is the film, but for me, like philosophically, the story is the film. And
I
so
think
if I get and I think Argento does focus on style. It's just his style gives me a headache. I'm not being facetious. Like I try to watch it, and I'm like, I can't watch this. This is unwatchable to me. But I do want to.
One you could see, man, in my opinion, is Cat o' Nine Tails. It's made with an American style, with a lot of American actors. Matter of fact, the main actor in it is Carl Malden.
Carl Malden. Okay.
He plays an older blind man that's raising an orphaned little blind or a little girl that helps him out. So they're like friends, and they help each other, and they kind of help try to solve crimes that they see in the newspaper and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's something neat.
Okay.
That's how they end up getting involved with the killer. So Cat o' Nine Tails. It's one of his first ones.
Okay. I'll see if I can dig it up, but let's see about maybe doing
yes,
the
if I
comparing.
remember right, it's less colorful than his other movies.
Yes.
Well, then there's hope.
It's a murder mystery.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Deep Red and Bird with the Crystal Plumage, same.
Yes.
I prefer those to the Cat o' Nine Tails. Cat o' Nine Tails, I like Argento, but
I love the relationship between Carl Malden and the little girl, man. It's awesome. Carl Malden playing blind is absolutely brilliant. He's awesome.
One of the speaking of movies with kids in it recently, I saw Sydney was on the show a few weeks ago because it's about a month now. When we were doing for October our shows, and we looked at some of the RKO horror of Val Lewton, and we looked at Cat People, which was just fucking fantastic. I mean, it was just this like sublime intellectual fucking horror, huh?
The Leopard Man's my favorite from him.
Yeah, those are serious fucking movies, and I mean, because like
Scary,
it made the Universal movies look really clunky.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you get a chance to see any Val Lewton, RKO horror, Cat People, and Leopard Man,
What's his name?
I
just
Walked with a Zombie. Is that one of his?
yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
I think you brought up RKO when we were doing the Mummy and
Yeah.
Dracula episode.
Because the week before I had been with Sydney talking about RKO.
Okay.
And then we came back, and obviously Karloff was just fucking a master, and just a genius. But just the week before, I had saw something that was at a completely different level. Yeah.
This is these are two packs. It's got Isle of the Dead and Bedlam, which is a Boris Karloff Luke 2-pack. Over here is the Body Snatcher, which is one of Boris Karloff's greatest movies, and I Walked with a Zombie, and then I got Leopard Man up there.
Let's see those again.
The Body Snatcher with Boris Karloff is brilliant.
Nice.
It's where he plays the grave robber.
I love the way those posters from back then look,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
They look so cool.
yeah.
Just the colors and stuff like that. They look so neat.
But the reason I brought that up was because we were talking about Carl Malden, Cat o' Nine Tails, and so they came up with, I think 3 years later, or 4 years later, 3 years later, because Cat People was 41, and then 44 they did a sequel called Curse of the Cat People, and it's kind of a Christmas movie, and it's about two of the protagonists from the first movie have now married and had this child. And it's just, they have the recurring character who was also brought back, who befriends the kid who was sort of the villain, or, the antagonist, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a horror movie. It's almost like a ghost story. And it was a perfect film. I was knocked on my ass. And I mean, back then the movies were 70 minutes?
Right.
Or something like that. It was just beautiful, beautiful to watch. I mean, like nothing Universal was doing. Completely different, sublime, just a beautiful story, beautiful writing, great performances. I couldn't believe it.
Luton didn't do a lot. Luton didn't do a real lot, but what he did do, he was one of those strange artist kind of guys, which means he didn't do a lot. But what he did do was good.
Well, I mean, like they would tell him, like, okay, they just did the Wolfman over here. Here's this money, and we want to call Cat People. Go.
Right.
And then he would just come back and produce this fucking masterpiece.
Right.
And, he would just turn lemons into lemonade, because most people would be like, what? Cat People? What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? And instead he turns it into the story about the Serbian girl who comes to America, and she believes that she's cursed because at some point in like prior centuries, like her village had fallen into witchcraft. And so the king comes down and just slaughters the whole village, the Christian king. And so all the people who, there are a small number of people manage to escape into the mountains, and she descends from that. And so she believes that she's bewitched. She carries that Eastern European sort of superstition with her, And so, I mean, it hits even to today because, like when I saw the new Hellraiser, it starts out in Serbia. And, for us that are old enough to remember, like Serbia hits kind of hard. You're like, oh, shit, like they're not fucking around, Serbia. Okay, and so when I saw this, oh shit, she's from Serbia. Okay, that's a rough kind of place, and yeah, it's just fantastic. Cat People, go, and you just develop this fucking story, and you're like, how the fuck do you do that? Genius, man, just fucking genius. I mean, and then you look at like today, and you're like, really? Fuck, that's what we're getting. I mean, fuck. All right, all right, fine. Terrified. I watch, I'll look at Julia's List or, and that kind of thing. But damn, those movies were something, man.
Yeah. Remember they remade Cat People in the early 80s with
Nastasia Kinski.
Yeah.
And Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah, and I've
Oh, and
never
that
been a
lovely
huge
David
Malcolm.
Bowie record, yeah. Putting out fire
Yeah.
with gasoline.
Yeah,
Got
Cat
that.
People. Yeah, and I'm not exactly a Malcolm McDowell fan,
Okay.
and like I certainly don't want to see him have sex, which is
Well,
kind of
I'm
what
with
that
you.
movie was about. It was just about Natasha Kinski getting naked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that whole movie was like. Everybody was just waiting for Natasha Kinski to get naked. It was like 82, and that was a given.
Mhm.
And like she had a very brief career, I think. But
It's
yeah,
a
it
shame though,
wasn't.
because she had great presence though. She's kind of almost like a living icon.
Yeah.
I saw a trailer for that recently. I don't remember why, but I saw a
Mm.
trailer and I'm like, is that fucking Malcolm McDowell? Jesus, I really don't want to watch this. But then like she came on and she was just stunningly beautiful. You're just riveted.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit, she's gorgeous.
Now,
You
Malcolm
It was
is
just, she had these like classical features and she's chiseled and you're just, holy shit. Sorry, Gord, go ahead.
Don't forget about though his performance in Clockwork is brilliant though. You got to give him that.
And you have to admit, he's your favorite Loomis, isn't he?
He's terrifying in it.
I own a copy of Clockwork. I have like one of those Kubrick 3-packs.
Mhm.
It's like The Shining, 2001, and Clockwork.
Mhm.
But like I don't go out of my way ever to watch Clockwork.
Yeah.
I saw it once in college, and I was just like, okay, this is kind of fucked up.
It takes a certain mentality to do Clockwork Orange.
Wasn't that a Burroughs book?
I know it was a book, and I think didn't they have to?
No, not
what-
Burroughs.
No, that was Anthony Burgess.
Anthony
Burgess, yeah. Chap who wrote the Enderby novels.
Yeah, I think they had. Didn't they have to re-release it? And they edited out like the final chapter or something like that. I've read.
They changed around the ending and all that, and Kubrick himself pulled it from the theaters in England because people dressed as the Druze were coming to his house, and it scared the shit out of him to himself.
Jesus.
He banned his own film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Although Mike, you did like him as Dr.
character.
Loomis though in Zombies Halloween.
Yeah, I did. You know what I liked? Yeah, I did actually. And I liked what they did with him in the second movie.
Me too.
He became this pompous asshole.
You and me are like the only two people that liked how they changed Loomis into this like fame-hungry douchebag in the second film.
Yeah, and like he gets snapped on by Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
The only useful thing that Al Yankovic has done his entire fucking life, was that 1-2 second just got snapped on by Weird Al.
He was such a dick, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think they based him off of Manson's lawyer or someone like that who wrote a book about the trial and everything, and he just became fame and money hungry. And if you think about it, it made it seem a little realistic to me because you could see a lot of people doing that. They make so much money, they get so much TV time and notoriety, they believe their own hype, and that's what I liked about what Zombie did with Loomis in that film because it was something different. And I mean, sure, of course, he has a redemption at the end or whatever, but it was just cool seeing for the first time Dr. Loomis just being a prick. And we haven't seen that.
Failed miserably, you know what I mean? Even though he failed miserably, and then put out a book like he accomplished some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then like puts the fucking secret in there that Lori is his sister. And like doesn't even like inform the family,
right,
or anything. You're like, fuck, this guy's a douche.
And see, that's what I like because like there's the scene in part 2 when he's doing the book signing, and Linda's dad shows up and shows him a picture of Linda. He's like, oh, I don't even recognize her. You know what I mean? Yeah. And her death is one of the reasons.
Her.
Yeah. He pulls a gun on her.
He pulls a gun. Yeah.
Right out of the chair.
Yep.
Yeah. And he was good in the first one. I mean, when he first walks in as like the school psychologist.
When his hair's all fucked up and greasy.
He's like a hippie. Yeah, he's like a hippie. It's like 1978 or something like that. He's like the last of the hippies, and he just, I mean.
At least he didn't try to be Donald Pleasance.
Right.
No, he doesn't have to. It's a completely different character.
Yes.
It's a completely different character, and you can't take away from Donald Pleasance in that first movie.
Oh man.
And
Pleasance
he's
is great in a lot of shit.
Oh, I got a copy of The Great Escape around here. That scene where he doesn't, because Donald Pleasance isn't one of the guys who makes it. I think because he's blind. Isn't he the guy who's blind? Did anybody see The Great Escape with McQueen? And it's just it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because he doesn't have glasses or something, and he's going blind or something like that, and he can't make it. He's just a great actor. And Malcolm McDowell's a pretty good actor.
He got in a rut. He got in a rut where all his shit throughout the 90s and up to now, it's like he's playing the same guy. He just feels the same now.
Yeah, he was in that. Yeah, I think he was in a Star Trek movie, and he was. Yeah, he's not my favorite actor. So, like I said, when I saw Clockwork, I'm like, okay, all right. But like I said, I own a copy, so there you go. Speaking of Halloween, I guess we're about a month late, but the latest Halloween has dropped away. It went away kind of quickly. It hit for like 2 weeks, and everybody argued for about 2 weeks, and then it went on to the next thing, I guess, which was Terrifier.
I never see anything like
it. Who here saw it? Eric, I know you saw it.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I unfortunately seen it. It starred my life.
Oh.
Julia, did you see it?
No.
I'll say this.
No, I'm a horror fan.
I love Gore. I love Gore to death. He saw the film, and the very next day, my inbox on Instagram is just full of him. He had to let it out.
But what I said was fair, and it was true, and it was educated. I did all the investigation, and I found out why that ending was so fucking ridiculous.
Okay, Gore, what you got to start doing when you do shit like that, you got to make the video in your car, like everybody does, like right outside the fucking parking lot, where they're just yelling at the fucking phone. I can't believe I wasted 2 fucking hours of my life doing that. You motherfucking fucking
but see, I don't have a car.
What's hilarious though is that people seem to think they were going to get something good. Why?
Yeah, I know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I don't have a car, so I'd be standing outside in the cold.
That'd be even better. That'd be better just railing at your phone.
In a cold ass Indiana winter, shaking, going, this fucking bullshit. I'm gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, and that's when someone calls the cops on him. He's like, "No, I'm just doing a YouTube video."
Don't fuck with me. I just seen Halloween and I'm pissed.
The cops just fucking. Oh, sorry, sir. Carry on. Have a nice day. All right. Take it easy. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Any judge would have quit. Sorry, get this man out of here. Time served. Whatever.
Temporary insanity. We'll give it 6 months.
Yeah. Here's money for time lost. This sort of thing.
Like you can get out scot free if you go directly to Hollywood and kill fuckers that made it.
So I mean. My understanding, if I've got this correct, and I don't want to do too deep of a dive because I'm not going to, it's already like, I think 6 months after everybody else got around to it, I got around to Halloween Kills, which is right around the time we did the first Hangout stream. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I remember like watching the beginning of that movie where they retconned which I thought that was a horrible thing to do. They retconned the original. Story and inserted all those characters and the cops, and suddenly Will Patton was in the original. I'm like, no, you weren't, you fuck, and so I was just like, this is fucking awful. And then Anthony Michael Hall, and then that guy from the hospital that escaped, and they all like fucking turn on him, and you're like, what the fuck is this? This is a waste of my time. But then, because I was just like, there's no point now in seeing the third movie because the first one had, it had like a chance, and then they kind of blew it, because they were trying to make a trilogy. Like they could have made one streamlined fucking Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis, cut about 20 minutes out of the one that they did, made it about an 85-minute movie or little less than 90, and had a kick-ass fucking Halloween movie. But they didn't do it. They went for 3. And now in this third movie, he's living in the sewers?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Looking
Well,
old.
that's fitting.
Yeah, probably with the rest of the fucking production company. Okay.
And they're making an Exorcist trilogy now. David Gordon Green is.
Yeah, they're giving this guys the keys to the fucking kingdom. I mean, it's nothing for fucking sacred anymore.
Well,
Nothing's ever been sacred, dude.
yeah, that's true. Everything's been remade.
I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping. I'm having faith. I hope that they don't do what I think they might do.
I'm interested from what I've read. Ellen Burstyn is the only one returning, and he said, David Gordon Green, he said that he is not ignoring anything that has made it to film, whether it's any of the sequels, which I'm excited because I'm wondering if that means we're going to get an Exorcist 3 nod, but he's also not ignoring the prequel, whichever one made it to theaters, not the one that came straight to DVD. The only thing I think he says he's not touching, and I could be wrong, is the television show with Gina Davis, which I heard was really good.
Dude, that was
It
fucking
was. It was
amazing.
fabulous. I loved
That
it.
could have been the biggest piece of shit, and that was just fucking.
And it just turned out to be so fucking brilliant.
Oh my god, yeah! I
loved
think
it.
it's
I
on
liked
Amazon
the
right
second one. I was
Okay.
hoping there'd be a third.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, there's only
I
two
must
seasons?
watch the first one again. I
Because
must.
they built characters, you know what I mean? They built characters, they made it about those characters, and didn't try to live off what happened then. They mixed in some of it, but they made it about now and about them characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's important. You can't live off everything that happened then. You got to build around some new shit.
Yeah,
And
because
make that new shit interesting.
Because I remember, I mean, and you know me, and I'm just like, why the fuck are they doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is amazing. It's so good. Fuck.
No point in doing the same shit over again. You know?
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good about the television show. And I heard Gina Davis was damn good in it.
Television show's good, yeah.
I mean, yeah, and it was, Sharon Glass is in it. Is it Sharon Glass? Yeah, Sharon Glass is in it. I don't want to give it away. But yeah, I mean, now they're going to make a fucking Exorcist trilogy.
I'm just wondering, because I mean, she could just be bullshitting. Linda Blair says she hasn't even been contacted to be in.
Remember Bill Moseley told me he wasn't in the, or Jeff Daniel Phillips said he didn't have anything working, and he was like the star of the Monsters.
Yeah. But so who knows? She could just be bullshitting, but it's weird. And what else can Ellen Burstyn's character do?
Bullshit.
Tell the story.
Well, I mean, it's you offer some sort of surprise to the fans,
right?
You know, so that like there's something in there that might convince people
if she says she's not involved, it would make, like, if she does show up, her appearance in the film much more cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people would sit up for a second. Oh shit, Linda
I wonder if they'll bring in Leslie Nielsen. That would be fun.
They might as well at this point. They from Repossessed, fucking bring him back in. I just I don't want to see it. I could be wrong. I doubt that I am, because it's David Gordon Green.
Mm-hmm.
This is not. I don't feel that you're handing it off to a worthy director.
I'll wait until I see footage first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not. No,
and
not crazy about it. But I guess we'll see. Shit. Hold on a second. Let's get through some of these comments. Oh shit, there are quite a few comments. Phoenix, how is everyone? Hello, Phoenix. Thanks for stopping in. Terrified is a great film, as are both of the Terrifier films. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can find this Terrifier. What was that, Julia? What was the movie you turned me on to? The Spanish film, but on Shudder, it just had English dubbing.
Oh, is that on
3
the
days
third day?
On the third day.
Yes.
Holy shit! If you get a chance to watch that, that's a fucking phenomenal movie.
I like that so much. I'm thinking of buying a hard copy.
Yeah. No. And I found another movie.
I want to make sure I have it.
Did anybody see that movie, The Innocents? CENTS.
The remake.
The one about the children.
It's in my
Are we
list.
talking the remake or the original?
This is no, just from a year or two ago. So
Oh,
it must
right.
be the remake.
I haven't
Oh
seen
man, it's good.
From this
You know,
year.
it's kind of the children with powers kind of thing, but it's not Brightburn.
No.
It's so subtle.
not a remake of the first one then.
Yeah, it's just about kind of how malevolent little kids can be. You know, that just kind of do things without thinking about it.
Okay.
And if you added some powers into that, like what a real train wreck it could be. It's a Dutch film. It's on Shudder right now. It is so fucking good. I have to get a copy of it very soon. It's been a little bit.
You just mentioned it. I really dug Brightburn too, though. I thought that was really
Oh,
good.
yes, yeah.
Brightburn was good. This is more of it's a better film.
Okay.
It's a better film. It's very subdued when things do happen. They're very subdued. It's not evil Superman. So it doesn't take it that far. Castle Rock. I never saw that.
That was that was a TV show. I think it was on Prime, like 2 or 3 seasons.
I think it's on Netflix now.
Okay, and that was just like a shared Stephen King universe. There was like characters from Misery was in there. They mentioned Shawshank and stuff like that. And Bill Skarsgård was in that. I think he was a Shawshank prisoner who had just gotten out and moved back to Castle Rock.
Okay, all right. Willem Dafoe also played Max Schreck. Okay, so we talked about that. It would be a retread, and that would have been interesting to see him go, because Shadow of the Vampire was also kind of a horror comedy.
Right? Wasn't it supposed to be like if the guy if Max Schreck really was a vampire?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, they're shooting
one of the things
movie.
is that out of the characters in there, Murnau, played by John Malkovich, was by far the scarier character. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember he was bringing Willem Dafoe blood.
Oh, jeez.
And trying to order him not to eat people. Like he discovers a real vampire and casts him in the fucking
Well, he'll
film.
do
That's how it
anything to
works.
get the shot. Never mind who dies, so long as he gets the shot.
He wanted to pull that inner vampire out of him to get the best performance.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah, who is it? Carrie Elways, Udo Kier, Malkovich, Willem Dafoe. I mean, it's a fucking phenomenal movie.
Well, Dafoe is good in anything, whether it's that or we talked how great he was in Boondock Saints, Mike.
Yeah. He was fucking great. One of the best movies I've ever seen Willem Dafoe in is To Live and Die in L.A.
I've heard of it.
A William Friedkin film.
American Psycho. American Psycho.
He was good in that. He had a small role, but he was good in that.
But Christ, he played Jesus.
Yeah, I own that movie. That's a Scorsese movie. Not many people know about that movie nowadays.
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah,
Great.
Has anybody ever seen it?
Green Goblin.
I mean, besides Ben.
It was okay. I liked the music from it, the Peter Gabriel soundtrack
score
that he used.
It's
the movie
story,
itself didn't do it for me.
Well, it's the story of Christ as a man. And not this Superman. And so he's just been this person who's heard voices his whole life. And he doesn't have any friends. Like everybody hates him. And he just he kind of wants to die. He's never known one earthly happiness. He's alone and just he's an outcast, and slowly he starts to accept maybe what God is asking him to do, which is really weird. It's like Harvey Keitel is Judas.
Oh, gee, really?
Yeah. There's a lot of people in that movie. And then just as he starts to be able to do these things, perform miracles, which scare the shit out of him. He doesn't understand how he's able to do it all. And then just as he starts to accept this idea that he might be, who he thinks he is, the Messiah, he realizes he has to willingly be tortured to death, pretty much. And so it's from this perspective of what an ordinary man's experience would be like if these things were happening. So he's both a man and the Superman at the same time. It's really fucking good. It's 3 hours long. It's very it's a there's no humor in it at all. It's a rough movie to watch.
Well, Gore mentioned it. Even in something he's great as the Green Goblin in those Spider-Man films.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Especially this last one.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he was scary.
See, what I want to say, at least the original one, the Raimi one, in my opinion, he's the only one in that. I really enjoy it, but he's the only one that gets it. He's the only one that acts like a comic book character from like the '60s when the Green Goblin was introduced, because he's saying those lines, "We'll meet again, Spider-Man," shit that wouldn't fly today, but back in like 1960, 65 in those actual books, that was normal. And then, like I said, or like Mike said, with this new one, was it Far From Home or No Way Home or whatever it is? He is so good.
Yeah.
And what I really respected him. He said the only reason why he would do it was if he was allowed to do his own stunts in that film. So imagine a man at his age doing all that shit. And a lot of those stunts that Norman Osborn did was really dangerous. The flips, getting smashed through walls and stuff like that. And he was still truly terrifying. You know what I mean? I think in that film.
I remember years ago when Raimi did the films and Tobey Maguire was saying like, I remember he used this term. He goes, he's just in sick shape.
Mm-hmm.
Like the shit that he can like physically do. And, like he's twice Tobey Maguire's age,
mm-hmm.
And he said he was just running rings around him physically. He really is something special. He's so good. He's so good.
He was middle-aged back then.
Yeah. Yeah. He was
Mm-hmm.
probably 40 something,
At least,
40, 40, and just running rings around some 20-year-old,
mm-hmm.
Just playing the role. Phoenix says probably one of the best semi-silent films I've seen is Haxan.
I've heard of that.
It's on HBO. It's always on, and I never watch it, which is a European film from the 20s. He reviewed it on his channel. Okay, I'll have to take a look at it. It's on HBO Max. It's always in the horror lineup. I never get around to it. I'll have to do it one of these days. It looks like something. It looks like almost like a Lovecraft story. Yeah. Let's see. You have it on your watch list. How vulnerable people have been treated through the ages. Okay. Having said that, by far the best film I've seen about vulnerable people is Titicut Follies.
I've never heard of that.
It's disturbing and rather depressing. Okay. It's pretty infamous. They tried to ban it. It's set in an asylum in the U.S. It influenced the creators of a rather unique narrative website called White Enamel, which involved a guy named Ben Rock, who was involved with the making of the Blair Witch Project. Okay. I think it's actually on YouTube.
Okay.
Worth checking out. Okay, so maybe I'll take a look.
I wonder
Go ahead.
how many. So to completely change the subject here, how many of you have been watching The Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix?
I haven't, and it's Del Toro's, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Is it good? Because it's Del Toro.
Oh, I've seen 3 episodes. The 2 Lovecraft ones and one called The Viewing. And it's very well made. It's got great acting. It's got fabulous costumes, wonderful sets, great props, good special effects. The stories are crap. The stories really, they don't work.
I love
the Pickman's Model would work. If I'd never read Pickman's Model, then I would think it was pretty good. But I have read Pickman's Model, so it's very unfulfilling. Dreams in the Witch House, very little to do with Lovecraft, but interesting. Brown Jenkin appears. I like that bit. And The Viewing was about 75% talking heads, and then a monster appears. And the monster is fabulous. It's wonderful. It's absolutely top-notch special effects. CGI at its best. And story, though. What story, really?
So how long are the episodes?
They're about an hour, 55 minutes.
Oh, wow. They're basically
all.
movies.
I'm going to see the others. I'm particularly looking forward with mixed feelings to The Autopsy, which is a story by Michael Shea, a great author who died a few years ago. And I actually recorded the story of The Autopsy about
Okay.
5 or 6 years ago.
I'm
And,
kind of concerned because my youngest son is a big Del Toro fan, and I'm
Oh,
afraid
right.
to watch it with him because I'm afraid he, you know what I mean, he'll be disappointed in it.
He only
Yes.
directed one episode. He only directed the first episode. He presents it. He's like the Rod Sterling.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay.
You see, it's
Okay.
beautifully made. It's beautifully made. You know, they've clearly spent a lot of money on it and got the best talents. Just the stories don't work so far. But I've only
this
seen
is-
3. You never know about the others.
So this is like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I thought that was a Del Toro story, but it was Del Toro Presents.
But he did direct an episode.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Jennifer Kent directs an episode, and Panos Cosmatos also directed The Viewing, which I thought was excellent, personally.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And
What did you think of the special effects in that?
I love the style. I mean, I like his work. I loved Mandy and Beyond the Black Rainbow. For me, style wise and tone wise, it was really interesting. But pacing wise, it put me to sleep.
Yeah.
But I love The Viewing. It's more like character studies, you know what I mean? It's not so much about a straightforward narrative.
Mm.
Okay. Well,
Do all the episodes have like connect, or are they all completely different?
Anthology series.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now I'm genuinely curious because I had forgotten about it. And I know he's got that new Pinocchio coming out soon, and it's going to drop in a couple of weeks. And like Pinocchio to me, that original Disney movie is terrifying. That's a terrifying film. I watched it. I think I took
one of my favorites,
children's literature class or something, and we watched it, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is horrific."
Yep.
With the kids being sold into slavery, and you're just, what the fuck am I watching?
When that kid turns into the donkey right in front of Pinocchio, that's terrifying shit for kids to be watching, in my opinion.
Because you just get the shadow, you know what I mean? You just get the shadow, and it's like you can see it. It's like, whoa!
Exactly. You just see his hands turn into hooves, and then the rest is all left to your imagination.
Well, I saw the trailer for this Pinocchio, and it looks pretty fucking good.
Okay.
And obviously, you guys know me. This isn't the type of movie I would typically check out, but it's Del Toro, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'd say 7 out of 10 times he hits it pretty fucking. He hits the ball pretty fucking hard. So
did he direct Pinocchio or just?
Yeah, he directed it.
Okay.
He's directing it. Speaking of Del Toro, did everybody see the screen test from, and I know Julia saw it, from the Mountains of Madness, that he was going to,
yes.
I don't know if you guys knew this, he was going to take on Lovecraft's In the Mountains of Madness. And
he's dragging that around for years and years, and just when you think he'd given up, he's trying to get it made again. And
it was supposed to star Tom Cruise, the original.
I know. That's when I turned against it. That's when I'm like, no,
no,
you shall not proceed.
No love for Tom.
I will. Yeah, I will. I'll stick up for Tom Cruise. A lot of people said that about Interview with the Vampire. I thought his stat was fucking spot on.
Same here.
Great.
A lot of people don't like it. Don't like Tom Cruise. I get it, but yeah.
I don't like him because of Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, really? That's what it is.
Oh, why?
Well, he took most of the homoerotic content out. He assumed some creative control, and
it was pretty gay. It was pretty gay, Julia. I mean, it was
not nearly as gay as the book.
Well, I think they're doing that now in the. It wasn't a gay porn. They weren't making a gay porno. You probably couldn't have gotten away with all of that. It wasn't the Crying Game or anything. From the 90s, from a 90s perspective, you probably couldn't have gotten away with too much of it. But I think they're bringing that all back in the television series. I mean, they're a couple. He and Lily, they're fully a couple, and I guess having all kinds of orgies and this, that, and the other. But
Tom
in
was
terms
great
of Tom
in
Cruise, man,
great
going back
performance
to,
in Collateral.
you know what?
Was a good show, man.
One of
Collateral
my
was really good.
favorites, my favorite Scorsese movie is The Color of Money, with Paul Newman and Tom Cruise, where Tom Cruise is playing maverick, big teeth Tom Cruise on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what drives everybody to want to like beat the shit out of him on the pool tables, because he's just such an over-the-top character. That's a perfect film. And I remember a long time ago, you guys would know this. I don't know if Julia would, because I don't know if they had it over there in the UK. They used to have that show Inside the Actors Studio with James Lipton, and they would interview at the New School
I've
in
seen it on
NYU.
YouTube.
Yeah, and they had most of them were 60-minute things, but every once in a while they'd have a 2-hour
Al Pacino's
episode.
was great.
Yeah, well, most of them
loved it.
are really good. But they had Tom Cruise on there, and they started going through his catalog, and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot he was in that. Because for every Days of Thunder, he would do something else. Like Born on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
He just started listing movies, and I'm like, fuck, I forgot he was in that, or this, or that, and you're just
He's in one of my favorite Spielberg movies, Minority Report, that seems like no one talks about, and I think that one's really damn good.
Minority Report's great too. That's got Colin Farrell too, which I love Colin Farrell.
Yeah, he was in. He's in one of my favorite Ridley's, and that old '80s fantasy trope. I was thinking of Legend.
Yep.
Where he's not the major character. Well, he sort of is, but isn't the major character, because Tim Curry steals everything. As the Lord of Darkness. But yeah, coming back to it, because we're sort of going on a tangent here. He was supposed to be attached to that project with Del Toro, but then Del Toro saw the set that Ridley Scott was using from Prometheus and said that there were too many similarities for him to be comfortable with. And so he just dropped it, and we're like, holy shit, Del Toro's going to do Lovecraft. And then he was like, no, it's too similar. And you're like, that's a real fanboy. That's like someone who takes it seriously, like even the slightest similarity to something that's happening now. No, it's not the right time. And so, what was that, 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. And so, maybe it's coming back around now. But I'll show you the test screen. I think I can do that. It shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, here it is. And hold on. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, hold on. Let me. All right. This is the CGI test that they did. I'm taking the audio out because there isn't any audio to speak of except for the sound of the wind.
Oh, jeez.
Look at that.
He's like, what the hell? Oh, my God. That'd fuck you up, wouldn't it?
That's one thing you got to say. You got to admit about Del Toro, no matter what, he's always creative with these type of beasts.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even going back to Hellboy, or even just the way the vampires look in Blade 2, where their mouths open. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
With the little tiny guys in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Mimic.
Yeah, Mimic.
Yeah, I still got to see Mimic. I haven't seen that since high school.
Back in the old days of Mira Sorvino.
Yep.
Mira Sorvino was, I liked her a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. That's reasonable.
He was great in Summer of Sam, too.
But I mean, we've got hopefully that'll happen, because I mean, if you're looking at that from 15 years ago, holy shit!
Imagine what he could do now.
Yeah, imagine what he could do now. Damn, holy shit! So, well, it's either that or the new Jeepers Creepers movie. Did anybody look into that particular cinematic masterpiece?
No.
It's not the next Ben-Hur or anything like that. Okay.
I've been looking forward to it though for like about a decade.
Why?
Because then immediately everybody was like, "It's horrible."
I wanted redemption for part 3, man. Part 3 was so fucking unwatchable.
Oh, it was awful.
But and this one doesn't have Victor Salva attached at all. So I was like, okay, fresh start.
Right, but that's what made them fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
As fucked up as Victor Salva is, don't misunderstand me.
Right.
I'm separating the artist from the art, which is what I always do here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made it. I think that's what made it work.
But he also
You had
made part 3. He also made part 3.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I saw that once, like on a fluke. I was over at my parents' house one day, and they're like, we're going out. I'm like, yeah, I'll stay and watch some TV. We'll have some dinner later. And I turned. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? Because I really love that first one, and I really like that second one.
I don't know if you'll be able to see this.
I've seen that before.
It's so true, man. The first one's great. The second one, not as good, and the third one is like basically getting.
Yeah, I actually just listened to your episode on YouTube on it, Mike. The first Jeepers Creepers you and Marty did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid fucking movie, man. And that end scene in the police station at the end of the film, holy shit. That fucking, he really went for it. But then again, that guy was a real fucking twisted bastard. So, fucked up people. I say this all the time. Fucked up people make the best art.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want the guy that does your taxes or the woman that does your taxes, making your fucking gym playlist.
Yeah.
You have to be
I think that, these people have some sort of a hole inside of them.
You always bring up Mel Gibson.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's probably not nearly as fucked up as a lot of other people.
Right.
But Victor Salva basically has like made one kick-ass movie, right? He's made a lot of movies that sucked assholes. To me, it's sort of
really? Because I don't know anything other than these.
He did Powder with Jeff
I never
Goldblum.
saw that.
Clown House, which was the movie that he got in trouble on the setup, but it's just an awful movie to boot.
I've been curious, just to see, because I guess it's Sam Rockwell's first movie, and I fucking love Sam Rockwell. But I've heard it's garbage. I've heard Clown House is garbage.
It's basically.
I didn't think it was too bad. It has a couple of really creepy parts to it to do with the clowns when they come in the house and shit. And the three brothers do a fantastic job. Very young Sam Rockwell, and he was damn good then too. So it's not that bad.
Sam Rockwell for me, because he's great in a lot of things, and he was in the Green Mile, right?
Yep.
He was he was that one asshole fucking but
he spits the moon pie in the guy's face.
Yeah, but he reminds me what I always remember him from, and I hate to say it because it's not really a great movie, is Iron Man 2.
I thought he was good in Iron Man 2.
He's great in that. The movie itself isn't as good as the first one, and but he's fucking great in that. Justin Hammer or whatever his name is.
Have you ever seen him in Moon? Where Moon is really good, where he's the astronaut just stuck in space, and he's talking. His only companion is like the AI in the shuttle, and I think it's his voice, isn't it? No, it's Kevin Spacey's voice.
Okay.
And it's just him trying to not go crazy, during the trip home, and he goes a little crazy, but he's really good in Moon.
Okay. All right, I'll have to take a look at that. All right, because they also had that other movie. When you said Moon, I thought you meant that one Moonfall.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I hated that fucking movie. It went on way too long, which was most of the show.
We haven't had a real disaster movie, a good disaster movie in a good long fucking time.
Mm.
The last one I had fun with, air quotes doesn't mean it was really good. I really liked 2012 for what it was, but my last favorite disaster film, Mike. I love Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Yep.
Armageddon. We had a string of them for a while there. Yeah. And what was that other one that they did? Was it Gore?
Deep Impact.
Yeah, Deep Impact. Yeah, Deep Impact.
I actually preferred that over the other
Armageddon.
Well, yeah, because one is Michael Bay. Michael Bay is but Michael Bay's a really good fucking director, though. I know he gets a lot of shit for those Transformer movies and all that kind of stuff, but has anybody seen the 13 Hours, the Benghazi movie?
Mm-mm.
Holy shit, that's a hellish war movie. It's not, it's not a usual Michael Bay disaster. It's just a story about the Benghazi, what happened there in Benghazi.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there with Black Hawk Down.
I did that one had Krasinski, right?
Yeah, John Krasinski. Yeah.
I did see that one.
Yeah, I saw that in the theaters, and I wasn't expecting much. I was overseas at the time, and I was like, "All right, I'll go." I was like, "Holy shit, this is," because it's a true story, which like Black Hawk Down makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, "This is a fucking disaster." Holy shit! Oh man. So I don't know. I mean, what's to look forward to? What's coming up? I mean, besides anything? I mean. Is there anything on the horizon?
Well, there's a little short movie being made, The Haunter of the Dark. It's just launched on Kickstarter, asking for 2,000. It's made 3,873 with 21 days to go. So it looks like a lot more people are going to get into it.
Good.
Yep, female director by the name of Megan Tremethick. From Cornwall, and it's not her first. It'll be her second, but I'm really looking forward to it. So very small. It's not going to get a cinema release. It'll probably be shown at various festivals. I've just renewed my Netflix subscription after being off it for a while. So there's a whole bunch of foreign horror movies that not English horror movies that I'm looking forward to seeing. And
Netflix is on a roll right now with some of these series.
Wow.
They just signed that because Dahmer was such a big hit. There's going to be 2 more seasons of that Monster. I'm assuming they're going to go with Gacy and maybe Ed Gein because they were brought up in Dahmer, but it would. And plus, they're the go-to ones, and they've already done a Ted Bundy movie.
This was. I loved Dahmer.
I really liked it too.
I thought it was fucking mesmerizing. Evan Peters' performance. That first episode is like the best first episode of anything I've seen in a very, very long time. You literally felt like you were looking at Jeffrey Dahmer.
His voice sounded just like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, and the idea that like every day he watched The Exorcist 3.
Yep.
This is my favorite movie. I watch it every day, and you're like, what?
That's
I love Exorcist 3. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, what? Like,
That's a true story, though. I mean, that's actually just life.
He would watch it with his victims while he was drugging them and getting ready to kill them. That's how he gets all psyched up. The guy that actually escaped said he was chanting while he was watching it.
The whole thing, like about the neighbor, his neighbor who heard everything through that vent, that poor woman, and you're just like, oh God, and then like all the times that they called the police, and they just wouldn't come.
That part was fiction.
Yeah, I think she was a mixture of like 2 people.
Okay,
she was the one they called when they found Conrad Sintensen. I probably his name up, but
that was that the one where they walked him back up into the apartment?
Yes, that actually happened.
That happened.
They were fired at the time. One of those cops today is like a captain of the force.
Well, that's what happens in this series. They become like policemen of the year. They become like officers of the year. Like the union, like totally backs them and pushes them through. And then I love because I really like that where that like captain from out of town. He's just not one of them. And he's meeting with like the victims, but like all the entire police department is over there at like the PBA ball, as these guys are getting prestigious awards. And you're just like, yeah, that sounds like a fucking local bureaucracy.
Yep.
No one would help me. I'm here. I'll help you.
Yeah. If you watched Mindhunters.
You keep telling me to watch that.
They left you on a cliffhanger with the BTK. They were starting to form that BTK story in the second season. Every episode, like in the very beginning, was like a 2 or 3 minute little segue about this completely unrelated thing that was happening. And you're like, oh shit, that's the BTK guy.
I would think that'd be neat if they didn't do Gacy or Gein, if they done BTK. You know what I mean? That would be an interesting one because he's never brought up. You know what I mean?
There's so many that they
Albert Fish would be an interesting
There's so
10
many.
episode,
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
They're still catching them. You know what I mean? They're still catching. There's so many they could do. They don't have to keep.
Hold on one second. Guys, go ahead. I'll be right back.
But I really, really liked Monster. I didn't think I was going to like it too much. I knew Evan Peters would be really good because I think I've really loved him in like, even if the seasons of American Horror Story weren't that good, I've always loved his performances, and I think he's lack of a better term, hilarious as H. Holmes in that one season when he's inviting people to his hotel and stuff, and that I think that would be a neat subject for Monster 2 because that guy was fucked up making all the secret passageways in his giant hotel whenever the World's Fair and stuff like that would come.
There's been a movie
for a minute there. They thought he might have been Jack the Ripper, but they proved that he wasn't because they proved that he had been in England at that time and then went to Chicago.
Really?
So they just proved it. But no, Evan Peters, man, I wasn't looking at the screen. I was doing something else and it was playing, and he was talking, and just the way he enunciated and just the way he was talking, even the tone of his voice sounded like Dahmer. It was creepy. So, hell of a character, actually.
I've been hearing
stupid cat.
It's all right. I've been hearing stories for years how Scorsese was supposedly doing an H. Holmes movie, but that's never happened.
Well, we had, I don't think. Well, I mean, they're not going to do a Ripper. H. Holmes would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. Aren't they also working on The Devil in the White City?
I have no idea.
That was supposed to be the Scorsese movie, right?
Was that the one that he was going to take on? Go on, get down, stupid cat.
Hey, Minnie. Hey, Minnie.
No, not you.
Yeah, because when Scorsese goes to do stuff like that, he does it well. He's got a lot more than
Your cat was my cat up, by the way.
I can only apologize. So, I mean, we got that. And one of the shows I'm going to start covering, it drops tonight, actually. Has anybody seen the show Dark on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
No.
Haven't heard of it.
It's probably the greatest time travel series of all time. It's 3 seasons long, and it's German.
Okay.
And it is so fucking dense. Unbelievably dense. It's just one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It's amazing that nobody talks about it. It's fucking spellbinding. It's mesmerizing. It's so fucking good. They went 3 seasons. The season it wrapped up, and now tonight or at midnight or tomorrow at some time, their new series drops. 1899 about immigrants on a ship going over to America. At the turn of the century. And we're not exactly sure what happens. It's very guarded, the storyline. But it might have something to do with the Bermuda Triangle. The guy James Hancock, who I had on when I did Hellraiser and Werewolf by Night.
That was a good episode.
He's like
he was a good guest.
Yeah, he's a professional critic. Netflix sent him the first 6 episodes. With like a list of bullet points for things he wasn't allowed to discuss.
Okay.
And he said he did a review on his channel. It's up. He said it's amazing. But it's 8 episodes. So he's hoping that the final 2 episodes hold up. But knowing what they did in Dark, it's going to. So tonight, and I'm going to start, I'm covering the first 4 episodes next week with Sydney. From Cinema Cities, because I turned her on to Dark and she was blown away by it. Then the only other person I know that talks about Dark is the guy Triple Feature on Twitter. He's like, I don't understand how more people don't know about this show, but they don't. It's like many of the best things in life. Sometimes they're better when they remain small. So some things aren't made for large audiences. So that's fine too. But also coming up, I think this.
Is it mind-bending, chilling sci-fi TV? 30 seasons.
30 seasons.
Is that what you're talking about? Three seasons.
3 seasons, yes.
Right, so that's just going on my list then.
Yeah, get that right on there as soon as possible. And anybody that has Netflix should be what you guys, everybody here should be watching this if you have Netflix. You actually have to watch it though. Like it's dialogue and it's in German. So you have to like watch it without distraction because every line means something. Like there's no fat on this story at all. But their new show drops tomorrow. So we're going to cover that. But Mike Flanagan just put the wraps on the fall of the House of Usher.
Very excited.
And that I'm very excited for.
I still got to see Black Mass. I just haven't had the time
Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass. I just haven't had the time to just commit to that. You know what I mean? Because with Flanagan, you know, we've talked Flanagan numerous times, just me and you in general, and you know how much I love him, but I have to be able to pay attention to his stuff, and sometimes I just don't have the time or the energy, and I don't want to miss something that's really important.
He did something maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. Really, I can't remember what it was, but it was really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. I can't remember what it was.
What was it about?
Haunting a Hill House.
Blind Man. I can't remember. Name some of his films he did.
Which?
Was it Oculus?
That was that was one of the like he has a few, but there's one that I seen that I didn't know he did.
Hush was really good.
Hush is really fucking
that's
good.
That's a really
the blind woman.
She's
like
deaf.
I didn't even know he existed. You know what I mean? Usually I know this shit about filmmakers and stuff, but he flew under my radar.
Hush
is to find out he did all these shows that I like.
He did Hush. It's great. It's a home invasion movie with a deaf woman. You know, if someone tries to invade a deaf woman's home. Dr. Sleep, which I think is fucking great. Was it The Haunting of Hill House? Was a great series. Was it Haunting of Bly Manor? I think was the follow-up.
Yes.
And then he did Oculus. I haven't seen but I've heard it was great.
Katie Sackhoff.
Good.
Yeah. And then like you said, Midnight Mass was really good. And then
Gerald's Game.
Gerald's Game is a really good one.
Yeah. With Carla Gugino and that guy. I can't remember the husband. I can't remember his name. But
Mike, you still I told you during our Dr. Sleep episode that you still gotta watch the director's cut with the 20 minutes of new footage.
Yeah. I haven't got around to that.
And I want to tell you what's in it, but I can't.
No, don't.
It's so
I'll
good.
get around to it.
Director's cut is so much better.
Okay. Fair enough. So, I mean, you know, I think the things that, you know, I personally, I speak for myself, looking forward to are probably smaller productions. You know, smaller productions that are still going for it, you know, that are giving me that story that I want. And probably stay away from. I mean, you know, what's the last movie I saw? I went to see Black Adam. Black Adam, which is, you know, is a fun movie, and you know, I like The Rock, and you know, I thought it was pretty good. But I mean, I'm not in the theaters too often these days. Yeah,
I've got nothing to really look forward to of like new stuff because I'm so far out of the loop right now. Yeah. But I showed you my IFC haul. You know, I'm really excited to see Hunter x Hunter and Ravenous. And, you know, I've already watched Devil's Candy, A Dark Song, and then, like you said it's a Christmas movie, so I Trapped the Devil. I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah.
But I'm very, very interested in Hunter x Hunter because I've always loved Nick Stahl, but since his comeback, I've really been digging Devin Sawa. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think he's been really good. And because you were going to do a watch along, before, you know, and plans fell through and stuff like that. Initially, you were going to do a watch along of the first Rec, and I have the trilogy, and I'm finally getting time where I'm going to sit down and watch them. I've never seen them. I've seen Quarantine. I've seen Quarantine, but which I thought was okay. But the first 3 Rec movies, I think they're Spanish.
Yeah, they are.
So I got to find.
Of them.
There's four. There's 4 of them.
I've got all 4 of them right here. I'm looking right now.
I got the first 3 on DVD.
The Screen Factory, actually, the Screen Factory is the first one to have an English dub for it's either part 1 or part 2.
Oh, you shouldn't watch it in English. No, don't watch it in English. Watch it in Spanish.
Watch it in Spanish first, but then check it out.
Okay.
I remember.
Because to me,
I
Wreck
mean,
1 and 2 are awesome.
the second movie is fucking phenomenal. The second
The,
movie is
the
just
development, when you find out what the problem is and why that was a hell of a development, wasn't it?
Get down.
That blew my mind because I figured it was just another infection, all that shit, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then the way that they sort of create the parallel story in the second movie, you're just like, holy shit, this is as good as the first one.
Yes.
Maybe not, but yeah.
I watched the first two. I always watch them back to back. Have
Yeah.
a small break to get a cup of tea or something, but watch them as a one movie.
Okay.
Far better than Quarantine.
Oh yeah. And no disrespect to Jennifer Carpenter. I like Jennifer Carpenter. I think she's a great physical actress.
Emily Rose, Exorcism of Emily Rose, she was great in.
Yeah. That's a phenomenal. That's a solid exorcism movie. Where they didn't go for low key. At least in terms of the possession. I mean, it's also different in that it's a trial movie. So you got Laura Linney. You're like, oh, shit,
which was ballsy all by itself for them to stick that in there like that.
Yeah, and then Tom Wilkinson, as the priest. It's an A cast right there between Laura Linney and Tom Wilkinson. Then you've got Campbell Scott. I hadn't seen Campbell Scott in years. I was a Campbell Scott fan. Just playing the straight man.
He's a hard ass prosecutor,
yeah, and he's like
Christian prosecutor.
Yeah, they got him because he taught Sunday school. So he wouldn't be, poked at for saying you're picking on this priest.
Right.
It's such a good movie, and Jennifer Carpenter just plays it perfectly. Very terrifying, very scary, very scary.
Yeah.
As compared to like another movie, has anybody seen The Last Exorcism?
Yep, I have.
I love The Last Exorcism.
It's the complete opposite. The complete opposite, a found footage exorcism movie.
It's really good.
Yes. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed
in that. The first 10 or 15 minutes, you realize it's not your average exorcism movie. You realize, you know what I mean? This guy is actually dirty, you know what I mean? He's not.
He's like a sham preacher,
And fucking laughs about it and thinks it's some kind of joke because he thinks he's proving a point and helping people. But the joke's on him, when it's all said and done. It's fucking hilarious.
For me, the last 5 minutes of that movie, where he realizes he has to, he actually becomes who he's supposed to become. Like, I saw that recently, or I saw like the last scene recently, and like the hair still stands up on my arm. When he goes out, it's the thing because he's going out to confront a bonfire.
Right.
Surrounded by
somehow it fucking works. What's that, Gore?
Surrounded by them, yeah.
Yeah, he just go. But I mean, like what we're seeing is literally a man go out to confront a bonfire, but somehow, you're like, I'm a believer every time that I see it. Somehow, I own a copy. I don't watch it very often because I don't like, having it ruined. I don't want to get tired of it, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's a damn solid flick.
There's
Logan's pretty good too.
What was that?
Oh,
Gore?
I was just saying the taking of Deborah Logan's pretty good too.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Julie.
Oh, that's okay.
Go ahead, Julie.
I was just going to say the Cleansing Hour on Shudder UK. I don't know if it's on anywhere else, but I really loved that. There's all kinds of we watch people watching the show, The Cleansing Hour, and then at the end something happens. I don't want to spoil it for people, but all of a sudden, all this random shit suddenly comes together, and it's like, whoa! Never expected that.
Okay, we got Patrick here. What's up, man?
What's going on, my fellow knights and my fellow weirdo and Ben?
That's it. Wait, hold on. Let's stop for a second.
About Eric like that.
That's very true. Leave Eric alone.
I've been called much worse by Mike. So
yeah, that's true too. That was just yesterday, in fact. But
that's right.
Be that as it may, Eric, show him.
Oh,
Patrick, pay attention.
Okay. Well, you guys have your little IFC midnights, and Scream Factory just had like a 50% off sale, and I went a little nuts on IFC movies.
You're the man.
I got Devil's Candy on Blue.
Awesome.
And they're all based on Mike's recommendation, so I know who to blame if they're bad. Ravenous.
Okay, great one.
Dark Song.
That's top of the food chain.
You guys just talked Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
Very excited about that. I was saying how much, I love Nick Stahl, but I've really been digging Devon Sawa since she's come back. And my Christmas movie this year is going to be I Trapped the Devil.
Great selection.
So
you will be very, very happy. There's not a bad movie in that bunch.
Good.
Patrick's just happy he didn't pick any A24 movies. That's secretly what he's pleased about. How are you, man?
Those are all great movies. All great movies.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Patrick, what horror are you looking forward to? Any upcoming horror? I mean, anything that's kind of what we're talking about right now.
Oh, upcoming horror! Wow.
Anything?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to release when it gets here. I definitely want to get I like to see Smile. I know that's out now, but I mean, as far as me getting it in the future, I want to get Smile. Like to get Barbarian.
Oh yes,
Vesper. I want to get Vesper very much. And of course, for me in 2023, of course, the big news for me is they're going to release a new Godzilla movie. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're doing another Godzilla Kong movie.
Toho.
Oh, is it Toho? Toho's doing. What's going on? Because usually Japan has to have some sort of crisis for them to release a Godzilla movie. Since Shin, that was the Fukushima. We covered Shin. That was a good fucking movie.
Yeah,
that is a terrifying Godzilla movie, man.
It is.
That's what everyone says. It's so good. I think Ben is always showing off his Shin Godzilla stuff. Yeah.
Look at that.
He evolves even scarier and scarier, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you just. Because I guess that movie is basically about the incompetence of the Japanese government in the face of a disaster. So it's like a satire based on the Fukushima reactor. But that's a great fucking film, man. Holy shit.
And Mike, I told you, when Criterion had their sale, I bought the original.
Yeah.
The Criterion of the original Godzilla. And I'm going to just, you tell me to watch the Japanese version. Don't watch the American one.
Yeah, don't watch that Raymond Burr bullshit. No, you watch the Japanese thing because I mean the problem is that in '54, you couldn't sell that in America. The Uncle Jake, who was a veteran on Iwo Jima, isn't interested in the plight of the poor Japanese people. He's not going to spend his money, hearing about how the Japanese people are suffering. 10 years after the war, but it's a compelling fucking narrative. It's about helplessness in the face of a nuclear catastrophe, which is in this case Godzilla, but I mean it's a metaphor for the bomb. It's a great fucking film. Yeah, and then somehow I guess to sell it, they got rid of the Japanese narrative about the radiation, and then they just inserted Raymond Burr, like almost in these non-verbal roles, where he's just staring, and you're like, I never liked Raymond Burr to begin with. So.
I think the Criterion has both versions, but I'll stick with the original for now, for sure.
It's good shit. Yeah, I forgot. Okay, I didn't know that they were going to do a new Godzilla flick. Okay, well, that's something to look forward to.
I got to watch. I was watching Godzilla Day a couple of weeks ago, and they were doing a big live stream on it, and it was crazy. I've never seen it before, and so I was sitting there and I was watching it, and they're just, and everybody was excited. There was a huge crowd. I think the American Godzilla has rejuvenated the Japanese because we were talking about this on the Society about how the crowds for the Japanese movies they were getting less and less with every release, which is why there's gaps between Godzilla movies. From the 70s, they're releasing them like once every year, but then for every time they did though, they got less and less box office, and that's where they started, And so as Godzilla's popularity was dying out in Japan, lo and behold, over here in America, we've always been fascinated with Godzilla. And so after they came out and did the 3 movies for Legendary, I think it rekindled interest, and so it's very exciting to see, and I'm hoping that the Japanese version. I'm interested in seeing which monsters they're going to bring into the fray.
I'm sure the Japanese are going to do it justice. A Japanese director that would be handed a Godzilla movie is going to take it seriously.
Pressure will be on.
Yeah, the pressure is on.
He won
Go ahead.
the guy who's directing it won an Academy Award.
One way or the other, Godzilla is always going to come back. He's never going to.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Ben. Did you say that the guy that they've given it to now has won an Academy Award?
Yeah.
Do you know what for?
I can't remember. Let me see if I can find his name.
Okay.
I do know that Shin Godzilla won the equivalent of a Japanese Academy Award. I know that Shin Godzilla was both nominated and won the awards.
What's up, Dan? Yeah, Shin is just a phenomenal. I was actually in Japan when I saw that. It's fucking amazing.
What was the audience? What was the audience made of, Mike? What was the audience? Was it kids or was it all adults?
A bit of both. A bit of both.
I still think that's pretty surreal, an American being there and seeing a Godzilla film in theaters. Well, it feels real cool. Would feel real cool.
It definitely was. Hold on a second. I like Tidal Wave, which is a disaster film from South Korea. The South Koreans Asia is making fucking great horror disasters. Fucking period. Did anybody see that movie, The Sadness? The Taiwanese film, the zombie. Holy shit, that movie was intense. Some of it was extreme gore, but a good story at the same time about a zombie apocalypse that kicks off in Taiwan.
Okay.
Phenomenal movie.
Yeah, I was hoping they have it released. They would release it because I think Wogo USA put it out. I think. So they still do physical releases. So I have that on my watch list, but my library has not dropped it off yet. But I'm still looking for it.
I think it might be my favorite zombie movie. Zombie movies aren't my thing. It's some people it is, but Train to Busan. Holy shit!
Yeah, I heard that was good too.
Yeah, that was good.
Holy shit, that's good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite zombie movie.
Deservedly so. I like the original Romero, Night of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah.
I like Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead.
I love Dawn of the Dead, the remake.
Yeah. I like Danny Boyle, 28 Days Later.
I think I prefer
28 Weeks Later.
I prefer 28 Weeks, I think, but they're both
Robert
good.
Carlyle.
Thank you.
28 Days has got this vibe. It's got this atmosphere, creepiness to it, this alone, isolated feel to it, man. The 28 Weeks done that.
When Cillian Murphy finds that priest,
yes,
priest is like fucking, that freaked me out. I was like, what the, holy shit. And it's just got such a great cast.
The scene where
Eccleston.
The scene where the dad just looks up and the blood just drops in his eyes.
Oh my god!
And he changes.
His daughter, get away from me!
Yeah.
That was horrible. That was heartbreaking because that little girl just looked like her heart. She did great.
It just broke everyone's heart. Everyone who watched it, man.
They're such good characters.
Speaking of that movie, and speaking of future releases, they are going to be doing a sequel to it. They'll be doing 28 months later.
But is that official? Because they've been talking about that for years.
They're talking heavy on now with Cillian Murphy.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
He's actually involved. He's actually involved in talks, and they're actually talking about it. They were at a press conference doing something a few weeks ago, and they brought it up to Cillian Murphy, and he said, yeah, he was in talks. He was more than interested. He'd be more than happy to do it. The creator of it was like, really? And I guess since then it's grown a little bit. We'll see what happens.
It's about damn time then.
Yes. 28 months later, 25 years later.
You can hear the real 911 call from the woman who was complaining about them giving that kid back to Dom. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. It's actually in the show.
Yep.
Yeah, they replay the 911 call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ginger Ninja says, I've heard good things about Hunter x Hunter. Absolutely. And they're all fucking true.
Yep.
He says the sadness was awesome. Wasn't a fan of the third act, though. Yeah, it got a little... Yeah, okay. But it wasn't... It didn't ruin it or anything like that. It just, yeah. It got very narrow. Like, right at the end, it just narrowed. It just sort of bottlenecked. Yeah, I know what you mean. Takes any longer, it's going to be 28 years later. Yeah,
feels like.
But I mean, I like Julia's point. 28 weeks was fucking solid.
That opening
Idris
sequence.
Elba.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That
Robert
opening
Carlyle.
Oh god, when he's running from them, and oh man, and the score during that whole scene.
Yeah,
And my friend
Jeremy
Raymond
Renner.
is in it.
Chicken
Who
shit
is?
leaves his wife
My
up
friend
there.
Raymond
ruins
has
away.
played the gym assistant. So I got a set visit for that, which was fun.
Wait, start over again. I missed what happened?
My friend Raymond Waring is in 28 Weeks Later,
Okay.
and he plays the gym assistant who helps the kids escape.
Okay.
And he actually got his. This is the vagaries of the acting profession. He got his picture on the front cover of Fangoria.
Oh, that's
because
cool.
of the zombie makeup. Because in the movie, well, when they shot the film, he turned into a zombie and got his 5 minutes on screen of being a zombie. Oh, sorry, being one of the infected.
Right.
And at the cast and crew premiere, there we were, sort of sitting there, sort of, and they cut it out.
Oh no.
They cut it out.
That
It's
sucks.
like, God, devastating for both of us, really. More so for him.
But he still made the cover of Fangoria. That's
He
still
made
pretty
the
good.
cover of Fangoria, yeah.
That's still good. Don't be
And he's still in
disappointed
the
with
movie.
that.
At least they didn't cut him out completely, which happens to some actors.
Mhm.
What happened to Gordon? He'll be back. Okay.
So I have special fondness for the sequel.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. It's fucking. It's really good. Those are really good movies. Hold on a second. You all right, man?
Yeah, it was twitching, man. My head and everything was twitching. It looked like that with Possession movie when the head's twisting real fast. I was like, there it goes.
Holy
there
shit.
it goes.
Holy shit, Patrick's possessed. Holy shit, get out of the screen.
Oh my god! Oh my
Yeah,
god!
Now Eric's twitching. He's going,
Eric, knock it off.
me and Eric. We were both at each corner. My fingers over here going. And Eric's the top going. It's freaking me out, man. I'm freaking out.
What the fuck did you put in your coffee, man?
Just a little bit.
Whatever it is, have more of it.
Yeah, right.
No, it's just tripping. I'm okay. I will sit completely still. If I say something, it's gonna be like, like a robot, like a Terminator.
So wait, where were we before we got into Jacob's Ladder over here?
28 weeks
What were
later.
we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
28 weeks later.
Oh, yeah,
We're
20
just
weeks,
talking
20
like
weeks,
zombie
20
movies
weeks.
in general, I think, because you were talking about how you loved
Yeah.
Romero, and then the remake of Dawn of the Dead was great.
Yeah. I mean, but they're not my. Well, that's what I was getting. We were talking about Asian horror.
Okay.
Train to Busan.
Asian horror is fire. They have so many great movies there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much good Asian horror, man.
Yeah. They're just and this is. I mean, I find that and I've said this before. This is where, I'm looking. I'm looking at the smaller markets. And Julia turned me on to quite a few European movies. Even if we like Patrick, we talk about A Dark Song. That's a solid horror movie.
Love
But
the best.
not many people know about it.
Nope.
That's
Not many people know about it, and there's a lot
The
of good ones.
Netflix series. Did you guys see the Squid Game on Netflix?
I thought the Squid Game was
No,
great.
I've got that on
That
my
is a
watch list. Though.
fantastic-
That's,
Oh, man.
something
You know
to look at.
how many times I was yelling at my fucking TV every episode of that show,
Me and
Jesus
my son
Christ.
watched it all together. He watched the whole thing, and then he told me about it and wanted me to watch it with him. He said I'd love it, and we ended up watching them straight through.
I won't spoil it, but
I
there's
didn't
like
see any of it.
there's 3 episodes.
Oh.
Gore will know what I'm talking about. Tug of War had me yelling at the TV.
Oh man,
Marbles had me yelling at the TV big time. And then well, how do I say this without being spoilerish? The Panes of Glass. You know what I mean? When they're
Yes,
jumping. You know what I'm talking about towards the last couple episodes. The Panes of Glass up in the air.
Mm.
Yep.
Man.
Very good. Very good. They say there's going to be a second season. If there's not, I'd be totally okay with it. But I thought Squid Game was great.
very.
I binged watched that within maybe like 3 or 4 days. I was so hooked to it.
Wasn't that already released before Netflix picked it up? Didn't they already release it in South Korea?
I believe so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder-
and then Netflix got it, and then that's when they added the English the English dub to it.
Mhm.
It's a lot better without that English dub. Because
I
the
want
voices
to
they use
go
in
back
the
and
dub-
watch it in the regional dub. Yeah.
Yeah, the English voices they use sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think it got a home release yet, did it?
No,
Um,
to my knowledge.
it just depends. You can get it from Korea, really good Blu-ray versions of it. That's done by somebody who actually knows what they're doing, cheaply. But no, it doesn't have the actual studio.
Like official release. Yeah.
Man, I hate streaming. I hate
Yeah.
Netflix for that.
Yeah.
Man,
You know,
that-
if you got to know somebody who knows somebody, you know what I mean, type of deal.
you know what? Honestly, I've said this before, but you know what? I've never condoned piracy at all. Never did. But
Mhm.
man, the way these streamers are not releasing these films like this,
Right.
you know what? I have to admit, I'm changing my opinion about it. It's like, you know what? I don't, if you can make bootleg copies of it, make quality copies of it, have at it, because I'll probably end up buying one day. It's frustrating. It's frustrating not being able to go out there and be able to buy a movie like that or like that. It's just it's just greed. It's just greed.
Well, at first they were saying that about Barbarian, that they didn't have any immediate plans to release it on physical. I don't know if they've changed their mind, but that's what they said to begin with.
I think every film that gets released at the theater is getting a home release. I have not seen any movie that's been released at the theater that has not gotten a home release yet. And that's
what they were saying.
There are 2 Numi Rapace horror films that have not been given physical media release. One of them is an A24 movie, which I'm planning to cover soon, called Lamb.
That's
I've heard of that.
That's a
Yeah. Is it released? I can't find it anywhere.
I've got a German media book of it.
Okay, German media. Okay. Well, so you have to go foreign. But I mean, in terms of standard United States release, you don't find it anywhere. And the other one, which is I think it's actually been submitted for the Oscar nomination, is You Won't Be Alone, where she plays a person who's been taken over by a witch.
I think that's IFC. That's IFC, I believe.
And
she's in that? Cool.
Yeah,
Yes, I've just found Lamb on Prime Video in the UK, and they also have a Blu-ray or a DVD that you can get.
Not in America. Not in America. Because I was talking to some people.
Ordering it from Amazon UK. You can do that,
Shipping fees would probably be astronomical.
sometimes it'll be wrapped in with Prime though.
Well, I mean, I can get a digital purchase.
Mm-hmm.
I can purchase it. I can rent it digitally. I can buy it digitally, but I don't have access to a standard US, DVD or Blu-ray release. I don't know why.
There's also like places like Orbit DVD will, an American company will sell foreign releases. Like, I believe it's a 4K media book too. So I think, it's region free if you have a 4K.
Very, very good prices too.
Oh, okay. I've heard of Orbit. I wasn't sure if that was like legit or not.
Okay. Could one of you guys either just DM me the link? Because I won't remember. Just DM me the link at some point.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can look at it. Yeah, I mean, because Lamb is on Showtime. That's my access to Lamb. So I'm probably going to catch that next week. I'm probably going to catch that.
Didn't you cover that one on a show, Ben?
Lamb's cool.
I don't think so. I mean, I've discussed it, I think, before.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I thought you discussed it.
I haven't done like a whole, you know, deep dive discussion on it.
I'll watch anything with Numi Rapace.
Absolutely.
She did a fantastic. I would love to actually. I wanted to get into this with somebody, but I haven't been able to find anybody yet. And then it just kind of got pushed to the side, as things sometimes do. She had a movie released right at the beginning of the year on Netflix called Black Crab, and it started right at the same time that the war in Ukraine started. And it's kind of a war movie, and these people who get sent across this Eastern European country is being invaded, and it dropped like exactly at the time that the war in Ukraine did. And she's part of this group that gets sent on this mission that has to travel across like 400 miles of frozen ice.
Oh, geez.
And a lot of, as stupid as it sounds, a lot of it is ice skating. Like the only way that they can make in time, because they're on a tight schedule to perform the secret mission. And it is so fucking good.
Cool.
It is so fucking good. Black Crab.
Just to let you know, Mike, A24, you can get it directly from their shop.
Can you really?
Yeah.
Lamb. How much are they running it for?
I just had it up. I put it away. I think it was like 34 for the 4K video book.
That's a lot. I don't do 4K. I just do standard Blu-ray. That's a lot of money. 34.
That is a lot of money. Overpriced.
There's going to be shipping involved.
Well, I don't know if there'll be. I mean, I don't know, but it's like not
okay.
8K release. It's like a full-on media book.
Because
it's like a hardback book. It's like
right. Because when I talked about You Won't Be Alone, I actually emailed Focus Features, because Focus Features are who is covering You Won't Be Alone, and they didn't get back to me. I'm like, is there ever going to be a physical media release for this? Like what's the story? And I never heard.
I'm actually surprised. Like, I understand, like, it costs money to produce the physical stuff when it's a streaming movie, but I'm surprised they don't do like an on-demand physical release. You know what I mean?
Preach it, Eric. Yeah, me too.
Well, what happened is that I don't know. Maybe it's post-COVID. Some sort of new reality for the media companies. And like everything. I think there's also, and there's pushback on this now. There's also a strong encouragement for digital libraries. And I think maybe we're seeing the beginning of the discontinuation or the slowing down of access to physical media, which is why you see people online now are constantly like, get your copy, like get it in hand, because these digital libraries are fickle. What's in one day, maybe, not in the next. And so, it could be part of that. I don't know.
As far as buying them at a store, it's slowed down. But as far as the boutique companies and getting it online, it's grown a lot, actually, lately.
I'm sure that there's a demand. There are lots of people. I mean, in the same way that some people collect LPs, some people still collect vinyl, that kind of thing.
Mike, you and me are big readers. Some people still prefer an actual book over reading it on like like an iPad or something.
I saw a great YouTube video about that the other day, where they went to the man went to a video store to pick up. He went with his children and his wife and his kids to pick up some classics. To turn his son on to some classics, and his daughter. I think he had a daughter, and like they were all gone. He went to like a big chain bookstore. He didn't say which one. He didn't show which store it was, but he walked in there and he showed what was on the shelf. And I forget, like he wanted like Huckleberry Finn, or I can't remember what title he wanted, but it was something pretty common. And no, they're not on there anymore.
Wow.
It's a lot of anime, and it's a lot of manga. These sorts of things. I have nothing against manga. I have some manga back here myself, but I mean, the access to
Huckleberry Finn's in the public domain. You can get it free online.
I can't remember specifically what the title of the book was, but he was basically looking for the old traditional classics to show to his kids, and he said he learned from that experience, and that he, from now on, his new thing was going to be books. it was going to be buying physical copies of books because he wasn't sure, what was happening here. But he was like, I didn't like that experience in there. And, he said one day maybe my kids can show their kids, these books because who knows, everything's so damn unstable now.
Guys, I got to run. It's been a good conversation, but I got to get going. Have a good night,
bro.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping in, bro. We'll catch up soon.
It's also gone 3:00 here in England.
Okay.
My eyelids are starting to droop, I'm afraid.
Okay. Let's catch up soon. Julia, I'm going to put, and Ben too, I'm going to put everybody's link to the YouTube channel in the description. So everyone will be able to check your content. Before we go, is there anything you want to plug before you sign off? Is there anything you got coming up on your channel? Because you read audiobooks, you read, you do audio work. So anything?
Well, I'm working on an E.F. Benson story called The Face.
Okay.
I've got half of it recorded, hope to get the rest recorded by the weekend and have that one up on my channel.
Okay.
I want to recommend a movie that I've seen. It's called The 16th Episode. There is some possession in it, and there's all sorts of things in it. But it really impressed the hell out of me, so I want to give that one a little plug. And that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, my thanks to Julia for stopping by, and we'll be in touch soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night, Julia.
Nice to meet you.
She's so sweet.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, I like her a great deal.
She's a good addition to the channel.
Yeah. She's got like real world knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Going, the guy who was in 28 weeks and that kind of thing. I had this guy Tony Atherton on once. I don't know if you remember. I did this interview, and he's been on Peaky Blinders and The Crown, and he was just on the new season of The Crown.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, well, look for me, and like he told me what episodes, and he's like, oh man, it's like 3 minutes or something. He's like complaining. I'm like, hey man, I wasn't on The Crown.
That's true.
Like nobody invited me, just like they didn't invite me into Buckingham, ironically.
Well, that's kind of like what Julie was saying with her friend. He may have gotten cut out of 28 weeks later, but he made the cover of Fangoria. No one else did. That's still pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't. I mean, so to talk to her and these experiences. You guys know who Hunter Thompson is, right?
Hunter Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, she met him.
Oh, good God!
She met him, and like when I first had her on, I had her on as an interview.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed Julian Morgan, movie producer and audiobook narrator, and these sorts of things. And she starts telling me this story that she was at this party, and I should have had her tell the story before she left. But she said, she was at this party, and it's like everybody's a writer, and one of those types of parties. Everybody's an artist, that kind of thing. And she said she just started talking to this guy, and I think she had written something. She had written a book or something. I can't remember exactly. But he was like, oh, I wrote something too. And she's like, oh, and they just shot the shit for like 30 minutes. And then, she left the fucking party. And she said like a week later, she saw the people at the party again, and they were fucking yelling at her. She's like, wait, she's like, you hauled up Hunter Thompson like the entire time that, we were at the party. And she's like, what? I didn't meet Hunter Thompson. She's like, that fucking guy you were talking to, that was Hunter Thompson, And apparently, like right after she told Julia, I guess he didn't stick around. He just decided to leave. And probably go get fucked up. Because he's Hunter Thompson.
Right.
But yeah, she talked to Hunter Thompson for like 30 minutes and about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Having to do with Hunter Thompson, which is probably what he appreciated.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. I can
she had no idea who he was, and so she just started shooting the weather and all kinds of shit. And Julia's an interesting person. So, she can hold the conversation. And, she ended up meeting Hunter Thompson and didn't realize it.
That's fun.
Some people you just hit it off with,
Yeah.
It just happens.
A lot of those people, they appreciate you not asking the same bullshit, talking about the same bullshit over and over again. Like when me and Patrick,
like a person,
when me and Patrick, we talked to Adam Marcus, you know what I mean? Of course, we had to throw a couple Friday the 13th questions in there. but he just liked it when we were shooting the shit about his artwork and just Hollywood in general and stuff like that. You know, whenever Adam Marcus does an interview, it's always the same fucking questions all the time. And he can hold a conversation too. And you could tell he was appreciative that it wasn't, you know, all Jason talk. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
So you can tell you can tell they can appreciate not always talking about the same thing over and over and over again.
You know, when I do interview somebody like that, like I've interviewed Kristen DeBell, and you know, I interviewed another lady named Jennifer Nash, and they're both well known for one thing, you know, for a couple of things. And when I interviewed them both, you know, the one thing I do is just like I make sure I don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when I interviewed Kristen DeBell, she was well known for Meatballs. I love Meatballs. Meatballs is one of my very favorite movies, but I did not ask her a single question about it because why? She's already answered it 10,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so much more else out there to talk about. So yeah,
Yep.
I don't like talking. I don't like asking known people about their known work that have been known for years.
Same thing with the wrestlers. You know,
Mhm.
they've been asking the same fucking questions for
Yep.
20, 30 years, all these wrestlers. They're so, and you can literally see them rolling their eyes when they
Yep.
hear these same questions coming. It's like,
How many times you gotta answer who is your favorite opponent, you know, this and that and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
There's a breakdown in pieces of a new Val Venus interview floating around. I saw on YouTube where he's answering a lot of questions, and I think he said like the most beautiful woman. I think he said from the inside. He said if it was just physically, it was Trish Stratus.
Mm-hmm.
But he said if it was like personality and character, and he said it was Molly Holly.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Molly Holly was just gorgeous.
Yep.
I love
Still
Molly
is.
Holly.
Still is.
Yeah.
That woman does not age. You know?
Yeah. And she wasn't like slutty like the other women, at the time,
She was when she was a villain and she was doing this holier than thou, pure type. They made that's how she really was. You know,
Yeah.
she was virgin till married. You know, strictly monogamous, very pure, very innocent, and a lot of times, like me and Gore, we always shoot the shit about wrestling. The best characters is when you draw something from yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how she was even behind the scenes. She trained so many people. Like she paid for so many people out of her own pocket to go to wrestling school. Stuff like that. That shows how good she was because she didn't have to do that shit.
Yeah. You're going to find students, you know what I mean? You don't have to pay for it for them.
Yep.
I was talking to Eric about this, about the idea of possibly starting to watch wrestling again.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if I have the time commitment now,
mm-hmm.
Because, there's AEW and WWE, and then there's, the smaller promotions, and these sorts of things. I just don't have the time. But for some reason, it keeps popping. Maybe because I was, every once in a while, I'll send Eric an old Attitude Era, video or something like that.
We'll bring up stuff from like the 70s or 80s. Me and you, we love talking Dr. D, David Schultz, that type of stuff.
Yeah, and for some reason, the wrestling has been popping into my YouTube feed now when I open it up, and it's it's always something with
the NWO.
There's things in the bloodline shit that have gotten really hot.
Yeah.
What's this, Patrick?
I said they're reading your mind. I started seeing NWA stuff come up in my Google feed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know they were around, but they've been popping up lately.
Billy Corgan owns the company.
Okay.
Yep.
Does he really?
Yeah. He's owned it for probably handful of years, Gore?
Oh, several years now. He bought it maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Those were I grew up watching WWF.
Yep. 3 W's.
Vince McMahon was the announcer.
Mm-hmm. His dad was the owner. Yep.
Bruno Sammartino.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Patera, Stan Hansen,
Don Morocco,
yeah, The Rock,
Superstar
Billy Graham. That's right.
My dad knows
him. And then Bruno lost it to
Koloff.
Might have been Koloff, but then suddenly I seem to remember that it was Backlund. Then Backlund was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Backlund.
Yep.
And then Backlund had it for a long time.
Yeah, Backlund had it for like 3 or 4 years until the Sheik got him.
The Sheik. The Sheik lasted 1 week.
Yeah.
as I seem to recall. And then Hulk Hogan came in.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was a kid, so, Saturday night's a main event, and, you're rooting for but it really was the dumbest fucking gimmick of all time. Just watching it. It's the same thing every fucking week. He just hulks up, and then,
Look at the Ultimate Warrior. Face paint and shoestrings on his biceps. He came down, shook the ropes, beat the guy in 3 minutes, and he left. One of the most popular guys at that time. That's just it's the
Road
different
Warriors.
era.
The
Road Warriors, yep.
They come down. We're gonna come down. We're gonna beat your ass. Tell them, Hawk. That's right. We're gonna come down and beat your ass. And then 30 seconds later, they beat their ass, and it's like, wow, okay.
But that was the difference. I mean, I
you weren't paid by the minute.
This. You were watching this sort of confection from the WWF, and you have Bobo Brazil and Special Delivery Jones, and these guys who never won a fucking match in their whole life,
right?
Jobbers.
Yep.
And then later on, probably when I was around 10 or 12 or maybe 13, I started seeing, like, from New Jersey, because we didn't have access to it, NWA, which was a completely different thing.
Yep.
Dusty Rhodes, Barry Windham, Ric Flair. We had UWF. The old Cowboy Bill Watts promotion suddenly started appearing 1 hour a week on Saturday night. It was like some obscure channel, like Channel 57. And we started getting introduced to the Blade Runners, which was Rock and Sting, which I think was the Ultimate Warrior.
Warrior and Sting.
Yeah, Warrior and Sting. Bad. All those guys that were
Bad News Brown.
Yeah. The Fantastics.
Then you had
Bad Leroy Brandt.
Then
the one-man gang.
We had World Class down in Texas, where you had the Von Erichs and you had the Freebirds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A24 is producing a film about the Van Erichs.
Yeah.
We were talking about
me and Mike were talking about Zac Efron's playing Kevin, the last surviving one.
Yeah, he looks jacked.
Yeah, they were all in great shape. I'm interested to see where it goes. I hope I don't know if it's just going to focus on Kevin. You know what I mean? Because that whole story is just so sad.
So sad. Holy shit! How many of them died? 3 out of the 4 brothers.
Oh god, no. There was the young Jack who died as a kid, and then there was David. Mike is gone. Carrie is gone. Yep. There was one more, I think, that passed. Kevin's the only one left, and both the parents are gone now too. But those were natural causes. But the brothers were either suicide or, there's still talk that David was a drug overdose. There's the wrestling rumors. A lot of people say it was toxic shock, but if you watch Dark Side of the Ring, a lot of people say Bruiser Brody came in and flushed all the pills and everything before the paramedics show up. So it's kayfabe was huge back then. They and then again they didn't want, because since David was in Japan, they didn't want David's mystique destroyed. With the Japanese people
protect each other. Wrestlers who go to the end of the world to protect their reputation, because it was like a fraternity. It was like a carny. You know what I mean?
It's carnival, yeah.
Small secrets.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't let those secrets.
I mean, look what happened to Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody was one of my dad's all-time favorites, and there's a lot of stuff with him fighting Abdullah the Butcher on YouTube. You can just tube that, but he was killed in a bathroom in Puerto Rico over a money dispute. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And nobody saw anything.
Yeah, of course. The only one who the only one who knows that it was a setup was Tony Atlas, because he says he saw them walk into the bathroom. But Invader, the guy who stabbed him, he was found not guilty. And he had connections. Abdullah the Butcher, he's got connections, and he's saying it didn't happen. The only one that says he fucking murdered him was Tony Atlas, but no one's gonna listen to Tony Atlas.
Oh, Tony Bravo, Dino Bravo got shot to shit. I don't think.
Dino Bravo was executed.
He was a mob enforcer, wasn't he?
He was running. Yeah, he was running cigarettes for the mob. Up in Canada, and he was found in his like recliner. TV was still on, and it was execution style. And you could tell that there was no forced entry, so it was like he knew.
Yeah, he knew whatever it
was.
He
knew what was going on. Yep.
Yeah. I think one of his trucks got busted.
I think so. That's what it was.
And he wasn't able to cover that money back to him. They gave him a certain time. They came into his house and shot him right in his own lounge chair.
Yep.
Craziness. But I mean,
Don't fuck with the mob.
the
That's right.
the difference that occurred between the the NWA and the WWF, and then World Championship Wrestling, where you start to see. I mean, like I used to watch programs with 60-minute matches. Flair versus Sting, Flair versus Wyndham. This was unheard of with what the WWF was doing, and it was just so much better. It was just so much better that I kind of stopped watching, Vince the McMahon thing, and like all I wanted to see was what was going on with Flair and the Horsemen and like the Road Warriors and Sting and it was just
the NWA and WCW more focused, at least before towards the end, on the in-ring skills, the work. Vince McMahon was always he liked the over-the-top characters, and the in-ring work was secondary.
You like the hoopla, all the glitter.
Yeah. And that's why, to be honest, I missed a lot of the Attitude Era because I watched Monday Nitro. I was like a Nitro and what was Thursday night?
Thunder.
I was a fanatic. I was a fanatic for those shows, and so couldn't watch them both at the same time. And I'd catch pieces here and there. But I just thought it was levels above with the NWO, and then Sting taking on the Crow, kind of role, that kind of thing. I was just mesmerized. And Luger,
they had good writing,
the Macho Man, the Steiner brothers. It was just, I mean, like Eric says, we'll never have that in wrestling again, probably.
No, that era's gone, sadly.
You
can't recreate it. You can't.
Isn't the AEW picking up that? I mean, it seems like every time I watch their shows, I mean, not saying a whole lot of them, but I mean, the ones I did watch, it did take a page from the WCW, and they, that was one thing that Nitro had on Vince was the fact that, WCW, you had big stars wrestling against each other, while Vince has always been, a jobber first show. Every single show they watch, short of Saturday night's main event, it was always jobbers. And even on Saturday main event, it was jobbers. And that was just like, that was terrible.
For what I've read,
is getting good again, though.
WWE is really
now.
since Vince left, whether you believe it or not, whatever, since he is no longer publicly involved. You know what I mean? And Triple H has taken over. It's changed a lot, and I think it's gotten a lot more entertaining. Though I have access to my buddy's Peacock, so I only watch the pay-per-views. But I think the last 5, 6, 7 pay-per-views have been fantastic.
I just started following this woman on Instagram. She's a WWE. I just think she's fucking gorgeous. But she wears like black makeup, like black lipstick, and she's got like slicked back hair.
Rhea
Ripley.
Yeah.
She's good. She's good.
And she slammed some dude.
She's
she looks
tougher
like
than
she's
shit.
huge.
I wouldn't want to fuck with her.
Cool being that fucking big, man.
Yeah, but you see, like I saw her in the gym, and you're like, "Oh shit, this woman is." On her Instagram, I follow her on her Instagram.
Her outfit's hiding a lot.
Yeah, and you just, I was just like, "Oh, who's this?" Okay,
Isn't she doing a gimmick where Rey Mysterio's boy turned heel?
Yeah. She's convinced him to come over to her, type of thing. Yeah, she's really good. She's really like when a person is finally given the ball. A lot of people say that and run with it. She's finally become this over the top like heel woman, and she's just so good at it. You know what I mean? Like you could tell she's using because Dominic's like a young punk kid, 21, something like that, and she's just using him and stuff like that. But she's really good in this role.
Priest is going to be something too, man.
Damian Priest is going to be really good.
He can talk. He's got that sound in his voice. He can work. He's big. He's good looking. Priest, if they do him right, he could be a star.
Well, I think putting Edge with them for 6 months, maybe. I think that he helped them out a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to get that veteran in there to help him at least a little bit. And then now that he's gone, I think it's all them, and they're going to do really good.
Did Edge retire again?
I have no idea.
He's healing right now. He was feuding with his old faction, the Judgment Day, when they turned on him and threw him out. But he suffered an injury, pay-per-view or so back, and he's healing again.
What about this Logan Paul?
He's really good, man.
I saw some of those highlights when they were in
Holy
Saudi Arabia, but then he blew welcome to the WWE. His knees are gone.
Yep.
He tore a meniscus. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's out for like a year or something like that. But I mean, what he was doing was like, what the fuck? Because a lot of people don't give them any due because they were YouTube stars.
Right.
But this one guy, I mean, he's flying around like I've never seen anything like that before. And then the other guy's fighting, he's fighting over the hill guys, but
Well, Logan Paul, he was fighting Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns can bring it, but he was keeping his own. He's like, I'm not at the point where I used to hate when celebrities get involved because it used to be a joke, but like there was like this. I guess he's a rap star, some guy named Bad Bunny or whatever.
Yeah.
They gave it to him. He was pretty damn good for being a musician. You know what I mean? And he brought in the views, and they're thinking of bringing him back just because of the athleticism that they can bring. So you got to give credit where credit's due.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at David Arquette. He held the title for a minute.
And the thing about David is they did that to promote his movie. But
that's right. I forgot about that.
But what I like about David is he didn't take a single penny from that. He gave everything he did to like charities under Owen Hart's name and stuff like that.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I mean, if my schedule lightens up, maybe I'll have some extra time to start watching wrestling again. I don't know that I want to start going down that rabbit hole.
If you have Peacock, you know what I mean? They have the WWE library, and you can even just use Peacock to watch the Attitude Era stuff, Mike.
Well, I mean, if I have Peacock, I have access to like Raw.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how. You might have to wait a week or so for them to play the Raw replay, but I know they have the entire library. But WWE owns everything that you can have. You can watch old NWA stuff. You can watch WCW. You can watch ECW. You can watch World Class. Anything that they own. I think they might own co-own Jerry Lawler's Memphis stuff. That shit was pretty good too in the day. So I don't know.
I didn't like Jerry Lawler as a wrestler. I liked him as a color commentator. I still don't like him because of what he always sort of said about ECW.
Yeah.
Because ECW was a local promotion, like where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the ECW arena.
Yeah, you told me that story
a couple of times
when we had your buddy on.
Yeah, Draws. He was. He's a friend. We graduated high school together, but I haven't seen him in a while. But I never liked what he had to say about it.
Yeah.
And I never liked what Vince did with those wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same thing that he did when Booker T showed up. He just sort
wanted
of
the
punked
name.
everybody. Yeah, he just sort of he brought him in, and then he kind of punked him in the storylines.
That's the one thing I really hated about McMahon. If you're a star anywhere else and he brought you in, he did his best to bury. Look what they did with Sting.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you bury Sting? Bring him in, and he never, or you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he never won a single match in WWE.
Right.
Sting.
And then you went from
not really,
the outsiders, Nash and Hall,
mm-hmm.
being big in WWE, WWF.
Yeah.
Going over to WCW, then coming back after WCW folded and immediately got
buried
by
Hogan and Rock. Yeah, by Rock and Hogan.
Yeah, and you're just like, why'd you bring him back? It's like you got to kiss the ring.
Well, they were actually going to reform the NWO and keep them together, but the fans of Toronto WrestleMania 18 went so nuts for Hogan.
That
McMahon
wasn't expected.
Dollar signs, put the yellow and red back on him, and that left the NWO fucked.
Yeah. That match Hogan had with The Rock at WrestleMania 18 is, it shows how
I saw that. That was a good.
It shows how an unexpected fan reaction can just change everything on a dime.
Yeah, because physically there wasn't nothing special about it.
No,
but the nostalgia and the
crowd,
game, the psychological game of it, those two played that match.
Yeah.
That was the one that The Rock won, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I remember when he didn't. He kicked out of the leg drop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we knew. You're like, oh, okay, it's going. Because we were like 1, True, I remember watching that. Yeah, I still remember that.
But Hogan kicked out of a rock bottom too. So
yeah.
So
Hogan
it
gave the rock bottom.
yeah, that's right. He gave the rock bottom. So yeah.
Mike, do you have Hulu?
Yeah, I have Hulu.
Every week, they play current SmackDown and Raw.
Do they really?
Raw comes on Monday night. So by Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, Raw is on Hulu.
Oh, fuck! I'm set. Okay, I don't have to buy another streaming channel.
Friday night, SmackDown is on cable. By Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, SmackDown is on Hulu.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
That's all I need to know. Thank you. I appreciate that. That just saved me some grief.
Sure.
Because
that's the best thing about wrestling, though. Is you could not watch it for a whole year, come back after a year, and pick up every right where it's left.
Yeah.
It's male soap opera.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's a male soap opera.
Peacock's like a month back. For some reason, the network is a month back on their fucking current live show.
Their own content. Oh, that's not good.
It's stupid, and I think it could be a deal they have with Hulu. Maybe that's one thing I could figure. It's Hulu's like, no, we play it first. That's money wise and contract wise. That's the only thing I could figure. Otherwise, why wouldn't WWE?
Maybe I'll try to catch something after the stream here. I'm off.
Well, it could have something to do with the cable companies too. You never know.
Right.
I just I'm gonna write up the script for it, and I think I'm gonna start to wrap it up. I mean, we've been at it for a while now, but
sure.
I just watched a really good show. Well, yeah, it is a really good show. It's a good show called Hellstrom on Hulu. And for
that's the Marvel show you were talking about, right?
Yeah, but if any comic book fan, especially our age, might remember the old comic book, The Son of Satan.
Yep.
Back in the edgy days when they were doing Tomb of Dracula and Werewolf by Night. And the main character in this is Damon Hellstrom, the son of Satan. But they made something that had absolutely nothing to do with the comic. And I remember the writer of the comic when they released the series 2 years ago, because Marvel doesn't even attach their name to it. It's from the old Marvel Television, from the days of Daredevil and the Punisher. And, it isn't Marvel Studios, it's Marvel Television. The writer of the comic book said maybe they should have read the comic book before they made this, but it's not. If you have no association with the comic, it's not a bad horror series.
Okay,
it's not. It's 10 episodes. It probably should have been 7. It's like that, but it's not fucking bad at all, and it ends on a really interesting note. Setting you up for the next season, and it was canceled.
Naturally,
it was canceled for one season. Yeah, because we had to get more, Sex in the City, and whatever that bullshit is.
It happens, Mike. You got your 2 volumes of Carnival back there. I fucking love that show, and it was canceled just so Lisa Kudrow could have a fucking show on HBO. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and we could watch Entourage or some stupid shit like that.
I was so pissed when Carnival was canceled because that's again Nick Stahl. We'll keep bringing him up, but it was such a great. Clancy Brown was great. That was such a great show.
Oh, Clancy Brown.
That is Clancy. Brother Justin is Clancy Brown's greatest role.
Yep.
He's just so fucking evil. And was it Mare Winningham is his sister? Oh man, what a great fucking original show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And the creator said to finish his story he would have needed a total of 5 seasons. Yeah. To make the complete art. He's got a mini script out there that says where he would have taken the characters, and it's very interesting and very cool. It just sucks that it got canceled. They say because of budget, because they needed it's a period piece in the 30s, but I don't know. I also think that a lot of it had to do with getting Lisa Kudrow in there and all the other TV shows that they needed at the time, Sex in the City.
Here's the thing about that, I mean, it's just like I was saying earlier. These things appeal to smaller audiences. The big stupid stuff, everybody watches it.
Right.
Like everybody watches Friends. But you get something original, and Bill says this all the time. You get something original, and it doesn't. It rarely, if ever, takes off. They had another example of that with Rome. Their series, fucking Rome. It's one of the greatest series ever. It's fucking amazing. 2 seasons.
I picked that up for 50 cents at my library. Both seasons.
I'm gonna. I have. I'm gonna. My copies are over here now. Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna bring them in. Another one, John from Cincinnati, lasted 1 season. Some of the best writing I've ever seen. It's just anything. It's fucking amazing. Amazing. One of the most weird original stories I've ever seen with Rebecca De Mornay. Rebecca De Mornay is in it.
I like her a lot.
And 1 season. 1 season. Ballers? Yeah, 5 seasons of Ballers. Just so you can find out.
But it had the Rock in it.
That's why that was the Rock.
I like the Rock. Don't misunderstand me. But just to find out that every NFL player, or 9 out of 10, are dumber than dog shit.
Yeah.
So these real quality things don't appeal to the masses. And it's like I've been saying recently. It's a small group of people that drink Macallan. Doers, yeah, no problem. Lining up around the block. But yeah, I mean, the real good stuff, like Dark. It's the greatest. Please get on your Netflix.
I'm gonna check it out.
Queue up some Dark. Sit down with no interruptions and just proceed to watch the greatest time travel series of all time that no one talks about. No one.
Cool.
Zero.
What station was Dark on?
Netflix. 2020. Mike?
3 seasons. Yep, 3 seasons.
Okay. Add it to my list right now.
It is. You just make sure you don't have any interruptions because it's in German.
Okay, you got it.
German. So yeah, check it out. Check it out. But I mean, that just sort of drives my point. These things are not made for, the masses. So you got to be happy with what you can get. When you can, for as long as it lasts. Just grab it for as long as it lasts. Hold on a second. The Ginger Ninja here says, I'm all Attitude Era. Okay, I knew a little bit about wrestling before that, but only when I had pay TV did I get into Raw, SmackDown, etc. Yeah. That was definitely a magic time. I mean, it was because it was happening. Whatever one. Okay, but I guess he's talking about WrestleMania 18. It's along the lines of Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, Marvel TV shows. Yeah. I guess he's talking about Hellstrom. So yeah, I mean, if you get a chance and you have access to Hulu, Hellstrom. Cool. It's a little bit of melodrama. That's why I say it could have been 7 episodes instead of 10. But yeah, it's some pretty it's solid possession horror because it's the son of Satan. So it's heavy possession.
I used to read his comics.
Sure, it wasn't one of the bigger ones, but during the 70s, Marvel made a lot of edgy fucking horror. With like Dracula crushing people's skulls with his bare hands. That kind of shit. Even he'd have Van Helsing, running, for his life. That kind of thing. So it's out there. All right. Is there anything that we want to? We didn't address. I mean, it's just a Hangout stream, but we're coming up on 2:45. Say it, Patrick.
So on Sunday, November 27th, the ISC Midnight Nights are coming over to my channel, and we are watching The Vigil. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait until Eric watches some of his ISC movies and comes back to us and sits there and go like, "Why the hell did I wait so long?"
I was never against watching them. It's just they never
didn't get around to it.
Yeah, but like I said, I was always seeking out Hunter x Hunter. I was just waiting for the deal to happen. You know what I mean? I couldn't pass up. I couldn't pass up 50% off on Scream Factory. You know what I mean? So that's why I set some money aside and I got them all. And we'll see if Mike's still batting 1,000 because they're all based on his recommendations.
Yeah. And that number ain't going nowhere.
No.
Not with that pile. Not with that pile.
Nope.
I got 3 or 4 things going.
Tell us.
I do my Monday Night Horror Classics watch along. I've now changed it into a voter's choice. So whichever I put a certain amount.
That was fun to do on YouTube today, dude.
That's what we do.
Yep.
On Tuesday, it's Forgotten Horror Archive, where it's movies that aren't paid attention to. It's not Halloween. It's not Scream. It's not all the same things. It's different shit that I think's good that I want to get some attention to. I'm also doing a couple weeks ago. I put out my top 5 favorites of the year 1980.
Yes, that was good.
Right now, I'm working on 1981. I found I'm not going to be able to do 5 and some honorable mentions. I can do it, so I'm doing a top 10. I'm getting ready to start my What If series, and it's going to start right out with one that I want to make a bang with. It's what if Lori hadn't survived Halloween '78, and I can't wait.
Yeah, you've been working on that one for a while. I'm glad you're bringing it. I'm glad you're doing it. That was a great fun.
I'm doing it in 2 or 3 parts. It's going to lead into version of Halloween 2, actually. Part 1 is written. It's done. It's finished. I'm just considering how I want to present it now.
Are you gonna do What If Corey wasn't in Halloween Ends?
No, I'm touching Halloween. I'm touching Halloween one time.
Okay.
Corey doesn't exist in my Halloween film.
Let's not be unfriendly, Patrick. Okay.
No. I just everybody hates Halloween Ends.
My Halloween canon is the first one, the second one, but in my Halloween canon, they're not brother and sister. And Halloween 3 is its own thing. The rest of them don't exist. Yeah. That's my canon. That's why it's called head canon.
All right. Patrick, do you have any interviews? I mean, anything?
Yeah. Tomorrow night, I'm interviewing director Brandon Slagle. He's got a new movie coming out this month called "The Battle for Saipan" with Louis Mandylor and Casper Van Dien. So he'll be with you tomorrow.
Nice.
And I'm working on this. I'm hoping to I'll have it nailed down by tomorrow. I'm trying to get an interview with Marshall Teague.
Really?
Yeah.
Very nice.
So hopefully I can get that nailed down tomorrow. My computer died today, so I had to go get another one. So I couldn't get the answer today, but tomorrow hopefully I'll have that nailed down.
All right. Well, best of luck with that. Very nice.
Thank
Eric, what do you got coming up?
Well,
with the kickboxer movies.
Yeah, I'm not going to promote that. I'm not going to promote that.
No, promote whatever you got.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm going through the kickboxer series. Much to Mike's chagrin. But I am planning on it at least this Christmas time. Like I said, I'm diving into the IFC stuff. I don't know which ones I'm going to make videos on, but I will for sure. Whether I love it or hate it, I Trap the Devil will be on my channel soon. I have a friend named Mike. He has a podcast called The Graveyard Shift. I was a co-host for that for over a year, and then doing spot shows and stuff like that. This Friday, I am recording an episode for his Christmas horror. I guess he calls it the Chris Massacre. Christmas horror themed stuff. So I'll be on that. I can't reveal what the title is because he likes to keep it secret until the week of release, but I will be doing an episode of that in December. And other than that, I think I'm going to dive into the Rec series as well. Once I finish Kickboxer, let's cleanse the palate with some Rec.
I got Kickboxer Vengeance.
I've got them all. I found them cheap on eBay. I've got 1 through 5.
Really, you think?
Plus the 2 remakes.
Hey, wait a minute!
This isn't Tutankhamun's body here. You've got it's a fucking kickbox.
Well, you had the first one has Van Damme. Even Van Damme wouldn't come back for the sequel, so they kill off his character between films. So they get a character who's best known for being the dumb idiot cousin on a TGIF show in the 90s. Sasha Mitchell. He is the lead for 2.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. All right.
No.
Details.
Wait, I got a horror connection, Mike. Hold on. Let me see.
When part 5 comes around, they couldn't even get Sasha Mitchell, so they get the guy Mark Dacascos, who was I guess he was the host of the Iron Chef because he can do a little bit of karate. So they threw him in it, and then they remade it with Batista.
Yeah, that was Vincent.
Batista was Tong Po. Van Damme does a little bit. And then they did a sequel to that. Van Damme comes back.
And And that's enough of Eric for one day.
But there is a horror connection.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah,
Thank you. That was long over fucking due.
You didn't hear me talk about how they brought in.
But the Shark Exorcist, the producer.
So it's down to you and me now.
Oh my god.
That was worth it.
Eric, I think we should send. I think you should send your set to Mike after you're done with it.
No.
I ain't been fired yet. I'm just sitting my own business listening.
See, Gore's the only smart one. He's the only one that has been. No, he was booted out earlier, wasn't he?
No, I'm just cool, man.
No, it was Julian Ben.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that fucking Argento bullshit. The style is the movie. No, it's not. The movie is a fucking movie.
There's a right way and a wrong way to make your point. I obviously made.
I thought if I said Shark Exorcist, that would be enough to keep Mike interested.
No.
Why would you think that?
No.
Well, because it's a shark horror.
No.
Supernatural.
No. There we go.
So,
I'm all for that.
live and learn. Live and learn.
It's an A24.
He's still fucking talking.
Yeah, he's still fucking talking. He's just fucking oblivious. Are you done now?
I missed this, Mike.
Yeah. All right. So, that brings me to me. So I have, what do I have? Oh, next week I'll be kicking off with Sydney, doing the first 4 episodes of 1899, and that show drops tonight. So, or at midnight or tomorrow. So we'll be catching those first 4 episodes and then doing the next 4 as quickly as possible to keep it relevant. And then, of course, I've got the Hellstrom video coming out. And then I was looking for new content, and I found that Showtime, like Lamb, has a lot of fucking good horror. If you go on the Showtime app, they have like 2 streams. One is series, Showtime series. The other is basically like Showtime horror. That's like all they advertise on the fucking app. And there's a lot of good horror on there. And I took down all these titles that I was like, oh shit, I can watch that. I haven't seen that, or okay, I haven't seen that in a while. I can cover that. And then the last movie on the fucking at the end of the selection was this movie called Eminent, which I had never heard of before. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to cover that, but let me watch it tonight on the iPad. And it was another one of those movies. It was like 75 minutes long, and it was so fucking good. So there's going to be an Eminent video, and it's basically about a team of scientists who get subcontracted by SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, like Out of Contact, to investigate this phenomenon that occurs, something that may have splashed down in the ocean off the coast of Miami. And it's not exactly what they think it is. And it's one of those things with no real name actors, except that guy, Michael Beach, who was the black detective in I remember him from ER, but he was the black detective in Dahmer, who just listened. He was like the angry detective who didn't want to hear any of Dahmer's shit.
Okay.
And he's really fucking good in this. Yeah. So Eminent.
I recognize him. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you would know him if you saw him, but other than that, there are no real name actors in there. But it's a kick-ass fucking movie.
Oh, he was in Lean on Me. Okay.
Yeah, he was the English teacher that Morgan Freeman yells at him for picking up the piece of paper off the floor.
Yep.
He's like, I was picking up the paper off the floor.
That's a good
like,
fucking movie.
It's such a great movie. He's like, what the fuck are you yelling at me for? He fires him, doesn't he, for picking up the paper off the floor. He kicks him out. Tony
Todd as the security guard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's a good security guard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're up on the 3-hour mark. My thanks to Ben from Cadaver Club, who couldn't hang out anymore, and Julia, who stayed up until 3:00 in the morning just to sit here and talk some shit with us. My appreciation to both of them. To the Gorefo for popping in. We haven't connected up in a while, but we got to do these. Yeah, always, man. It's one of those things like you don't want to do these too often because you want to have an opportunity to build up, some topics. Because like we did this next week, there probably wouldn't be all that much to
talk about
go over from one week for the next. And maybe we shouldn't do it as infrequently as we do, but every once in a while they're a good thing to have.
Once a month or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, I'd say once every 2 months.
Either way.
My thanks to Eric from Hey Internet Eric here. And my thanks to Patrick from 8 Questions With for hanging out. Yeah, always, man. It's always fun.
My pleasure, dude, and I appreciate you not kicking me out until close to the end of the stream.
Hey, don't worry, man. Anytime.
I was trying to help you, Eric.
That's okay.
I appreciate you not throwing me out at all.
Patrick, Patrick's just guilty by association. It's all good.
Yeah, well,
it's all fun.